this weekend. He's never been to Chicago before. I've actually never been to Chicago. I've never had the pleasure.
Oh, man, it's a great place.
I've heard that. I actually gave Alex an assignment. He has to.
Oh, I know what this is.
You can guess, right?
I already know. You're going to make him try deep dish pizza.
Yeah, and he's got to report back to me.
There you go. Good idea. I think Alex has a sense of common. He understands where the real pizza was made,
So I'm looking forward to hearing his full report because I'm going to make so Tito, you've actually been over there to Chicago. Is there what's the go-to spot for deep dish? I've heard of
Pizzeria Uno.
Yeah, I've heard Uno.
Lou Malnati's, although Lou Malnati's is more franchised than I thought.
Really?
There's a lot of locations in Lou Malnati's. There's
a lot of locations of Uno. Aren't they have them like in Orlando? Like there's
Yeah,
Unos
there
all
is.
over.
Strangely enough, I've never been to that one, but yeah, Pizzeria Uno, Lou Malnati's. I don't know the other brands of
Gino's East or something.
Yeah, they're Pizza Quiche. Yeah, whatever, dude.
Pizza Quiche.
Yeah,
I can remember
their pizza casserole.
The first time I went to Uno when I was like a kid in Orlando. Again, I've never been to Chicago, so I don't know if it's a lot better there, the Uno. But I went to Uno in Orlando, and I order the pizza, and they bring me out this basically meat pie, and they called it pizza, and I bit into it. And I'm like an 11-year-old kid. I'd been to Italy many times. I'd had pizza in New York, and I bite into this meat quiche, and I'm like, what is this? What? Is this like a heart attack on a plate? This isn't pizza. I don't know, this is like a cheese pie. Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I don't think you should be allowed to call it pizza if we're being quite honest here.
I think the thing that bothers me the most about it, Donno, is that like 2 slices, you're done.
Yeah,
you're done.
It takes
right?
years off your life.
Oh yeah, like you are out for the count. Whereas with regular, I guess Brooklyn style. I mean, I don't want to insult the motherland, Donno, but Brooklyn Italian style, if we're going to get specific, you can knock down like 5-6 slices if you're committed.
Yeah, I could knock down a couple of pizzas if I'm in the right mood.
And Barstool Sports guy Dave Portnoy, I think he almost finished his round of Miami pizza places. And
really?
He did Frankie's yesterday. He gave Frankie's a pretty good review. That's right by my house. He gave it a 7.4. He gave Miami's Best like a 6.6, which I was.
Yeah, it was better when I was a kid.
I guess maybe it's lost some of the nostalgia, right?
It's not even the original location. Like they used to be right across the street from the U, and then the rent got too damn high. They moved out. Where are they? Like in Kendall now?
No, they're still in Gables. They're
they
right
are?
next to Alkane's.
Oh, you're right about that.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to try the new location.
It's
yet.
I mean, I still love that.
Do they still have the penny-sized pepperonis?
Yes, they do.
I don't know. It's weird, man. It's just like
and then
way smaller than they should be.
He did the big cheese as well. I think he got pressured into his big cheese rating. He gave it like a 7.2 because the owner was right there.
Yeah, I enjoy the big cheese, but I don't really like their pizza that much. They have like some of their pasta dinners are very large and quite satisfying, and their garlic rolls are really good. But I can take or leave the actual pizza there, but I do enjoy the big cheese. 844-416-8123 is how you get in. The text line is open. It's always open. 844-416-8123. 844-416-8123 is how you get in on the text line. We're broadcasting live here, as always, inside the beautiful Drive Pink Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, the home of Inter Miami CF. I'm looking out through our wonderful shade here, our shade courtesy of A Shade Above Florida, and I see those pink, black, gray, and white seats here inside Drive Pink Stadium just calling my name for the next home match, which we're a couple weeks away from. Inter Miami are going to be on the road this Saturday, 2 days from today, against Philadelphia Union, and you can join us at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano Beach for our watch party. Orlando Alzagari and I will be out there. Austin Robillard and Kai Chen Chisholm are going to stop by as well. We're going to have the pregame show out there starting at 7 o'clock. We'll have the halftime show there. We'll watch the game with everybody. Speaking of pizza, I've heard that they have really good pizza at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, so I'm going to try that this weekend, and I'm going to have a couple of beers after the game is over. We're doing post-game from out there as well, so make sure you join us at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. And I think the YouTube stream is fired up as well. I'm going to be hopping on there during the commercial break. I'll say hi to everybody in the live chat. I think that's the most fun way to experience the show live. I understand not everybody can do it, because if you're in the car, it's easier to listen to us on one of the mobile apps where you hear just the audio. You can take us with you, the headphones, the Bluetooth speakers, all that good stuff. But if you're stationary somewhere, if you're at work and you can watch us during work, you're a corporate time-stealing weasel, as Jim Mandich used to say, Or if you're at home, you can fire up your tablet or your laptop, then watch the show live on YouTube. You can see my beautiful face, my gorgeous blue eyes. You can see sometimes the back of Tito Benaccia's head will make an appearance as well. And I think the most important feature on YouTube is you can live chat with us. I'm very active on the chat. I interact with everybody. And we've been doing the YouTube streams for a little under 2 months. Every single day for the last 7 weeks or so, topics from the live chat turn into topics on the show. So we're very interactive with it. So you can not only text us at 844-416-8123, you can live chat with us if you're available on YouTube as well. You realize we're 1 week away from the NFL draft from round 1. Finally. I'm getting so tired of talking about the same possibilities of, our San Francisco 49ers, are they really going to draft Mac Jones, or is it a smokescreen? How far is Justin Fields going to fall? On that note, I hope teams are not going to be using epilepsy against Justin Fields. I also hope that agents of other quarterbacks like Trey Lance and Mac Jones, who, want their clients drafted as soon as possible, aren't going to be spreading misinformation about the severity of Justin Fields' epilepsy, because if anyone does that, you are a disgusting lowlife. If you try to use the medical history of another quarterback against him as ammunition to, if you're a team and you do it as ammunition because you're trying to get him to fall to you, you're disgusting. If you're an agent of another quarterback and you try to spread misinformation about the health of Justin Fields to get your client drafted before him, you deserve to be put in prison. I mean, and I'm not denying the fact that he has epilepsy, because he admitted to that to teams during the pre-draft process. What I'm saying is, in the case of Justin Fields, throughout this young man's football career, we've never seen him miss a game or leave a game due to epilepsy. We've never heard about him ever having to miss a practice or leave a practice due to epilepsy. My understanding of that condition, I'm not an expert on it, I'm not going to claim to be, but my understanding is, if it's not particularly severe, and I don't think he has a very, severe version of it, it can be controlled really well with medication. And I also hear that his doctors expect he's going to grow out of it, because he's had family members who have experienced it, and they all grew out of it. So he may just be a couple years away from kicking it completely. So the evidence is there that at no point in Justin Fields' football career has his epilepsy ever made him not available or affected him on the field, because obviously he's had a tremendous collegiate career and a tremendous high school career to this point. So I really hope, for his sake, that teams are not going to use this either as ammunition to not draft him or as ammunition to discredit him so that they fall to him, so that he falls to them in the draft, because that would be absolutely sickening, man. And it kind of makes me wonder, because we just found out about this yesterday, that he deals with this. I don't know how long teams have known about it. So do you think there's any chance that some of the negative buzz around Justin Fields that's been going around league circles has anything to do with that, right? Even though we didn't actually know that epilepsy is something that he deals with until 24 hours ago, it kind of makes me wonder if some of this, anti-Justin Fields buzz, or people thinking that he's not going to be the third, fourth, or even fifth quarterback drafted, depending on who you talk to, has anything to do with that. But for his sake, and really for the sake of teams out there looking for a great quarterback, I don't want their judgment to be clouded by that, because he's dealt with it perfectly to this point. And if his doctors are to be believed, it's something he may outgrow within the next couple of years anyway. But, beyond the narratives of the quarterbacks, at least in the case of the Miami Dolphins, a few weeks ago we were given the gift of Chris Grier making trades, because for so long we were analyzing the possibilities of who you draft with the third overall pick. At least a few weeks ago they mixed it up a little bit, and we could start talking about the sixth overall pick. But at this point, man, when we talk about, okay, it's going to be Kyle Pitts if he's there, or maybe Jamar Chase, or what if the Dolphins trade down, I am counting down the minutes until Roger Goodell actually gets on that stage and announces where the Dolphins are going with that 6th overall pick. And Friday is going to be one of the greatest days of my life when I hit the air at 3 o'clock on Friday next week, not tomorrow, next week, and we can actually break down who the Dolphins did pick at 6 and at 18 rather than speculate on who they're going to pick. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. Here's a hypothetical for you, Tito. I want you thinking about this, and I want the listeners thinking about this. Ian Rappaport had the Nuggets this week. And again, he didn't say the Dolphins are considering it, but he did say that the Dolphins are getting offers for their 6th overall pick from teams who might be looking to trade up, presumably for a quarterback, or maybe for Kyle Pitts. Teams might be thinking, you know what, we just want to let the Dolphins know if we reach a certain situation on draft night, we'd be interested in moving up. Now, we know Chris Grier is really good at taking advantage of desperation, right? What he was able to do a couple years ago, fleecing the Houston Texans, a desperate Bill O'Brien. He was able to take advantage of, a desperate San Francisco 49ers to move up to number 3. Chris Grier is really good at managing trades, and he's not the sucker. He's the guy who takes advantage of suckers. So if we roll around to draft night, I'm sure, depending on how the first 4 or 5 picks play out, depending on how many quarterbacks are left at number 6, there's going to be some interested teams, right? I mean, if a guy like Justin Fields were still on the board, or if Mac Jones is still available, or Trey Lance, the Dolphins are going to get some offers of teams that may be willing to give them serious compensation to move up into the top 6. And now, obviously, Chris Grier has been really good at taking advantage of the desperation of others. But think about this hypothetical, Tito. What if on draft night, number 6 is rolling around and you still have a couple of good quarterbacks on the board? If Chris Grier gets a call from Bill Belichick wanting to move up from number 15 to number 6,
no,
I feel the same way.
No,
you hang up, right?
Not. You hang up.
You hang up. So
No.
You hang up because, and I was having this conversation with somebody earlier today, and their point was, well, you know what? Chris Grier has to be focused on making the Miami Dolphins better, that you can't be overthinking it based on what your opponents are going to do. You have to focus on yourself, not on another team. I wholeheartedly disagree, because in this situation, even if Bill Belichick might be offering you a package of picks that could conceivably make you, the Miami Dolphins, better, you're talking about a division rival. You're talking about a team that you face twice every year, a team that's competing with you for the same playoff spots, not only in the conference, but in the division as well, because you're trying to make sure you beat those guys in the AFC East. I think you need to think about it equally. If a team like the Patriots or the Bills or the Jets, for that matter, call you up looking to, and obviously the Jets pick above the Dolphins, but you see what I'm getting at here. If you were to get an offer from a division rival, you not only have to think about what makes the Dolphins better, you also have to think about, wait, am I helping this other team get better? That if the New England Patriots, who don't currently have a franchise quarterback of the future, you don't want to be the team that helps them get that, right? That if Justin Fields or Trey Lance are still on the board at number 6 overall, and Bill Belichick calls you up because he's presumably trying to get your spot to draft one of those guys, then I think Chris Grier owes it to himself and his franchise to say, you know what, even though we might be interested in trading out of this pick, we can't trade out of it to those guys. Like, I cannot help them get better. Even if I'm making my own team better, I also have to think about blocking them from not getting their franchise quarterback of the future. Hey, so later this hour, we're going to talk with Louis D. Sung from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We'll talk a little NFL draft and Miami Dolphins with him. In the 4 p.m. hour, 4:22, we're going to talk with Ira Winderman from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. That's going to be a lot of fun because the Heat collected another comfortable victory last night. They outscored the San Antonio Spurs in the second half, 56-34, en route to a 20-point victory. And Tyler Hero silenced some of the critics, at least temporarily, right? I mean, one game, all right, whatever. But, Hero scored almost as many points by himself in the fourth quarter as the San Antonio Spurs did. Tyler Hero scored 14 in the fourth quarter. San Antonio scored 15. Hero had an awesome, awesome showing. So we'll talk about that with Ira. We're going to talk to another awesome professional boxer in the 5 o'clock hour. He's on the Ruiz Figueroa card on the pay-per-view undercard. Omar Figueroa is going to join us in the 5 p.m. hour at about 5:20 today. So we're going to have a busy show. We're going to have Thoughtful Thursday as well. We're going to talk about someone who may or may not be a blood relative of mine, skipping work for 15 straight years and actually getting paid to do it. So that's going to be great. So 844-416-8123. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
The Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader. When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. At OnsideRadio.com, we chirp all day and night. It's time to do some more chirping with David Dwork at our Chirping the Cats report.
The Panthers are riding high, winners of 3 straight and with points in each of their past 5 games. But now they'll face perhaps their toughest challenge when they open a 2-game set against the Carolina Hurricanes at BB&T Center. Florida and Carolina enter tonight's game tied atop the Central Division standings with 65 points apiece, but the Hurricanes have 2 games in hand on the Panthers, which makes picking up wins during this week's matchup that much more important for Florida. The Panthers are hoping to get defenseman Mackenzie Weegar back in the lineup tonight after he missed Florida's past 2 games with an upper body injury. Patrick Hornquist, who was held out of Tuesday's game for maintenance reasons, should also be back on the ice tonight. The Panthers come into tonight's game with things chugging right along, having won 3 straight games and riding a 5-game point streak. Carolina has kept stride with their division rivals, picking up points in 4 straight games and 8 of their past 9. The Hurricanes have also had Florida's number, holding a 5-0-1 record against the Cats this season.
Keep up with the latest on the Florida Panthers by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio, your home for South Florida sports.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run it behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in at the square with Robinson. No square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnsideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnsideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
All right, I'm in the YouTube chat now. Appreciate those who are watching us live YouTube or youtube.com, search for Onside Radio, hit the watch live button, and once you're in watching us, make sure you hit the thumbs up, smash the like button, and also subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. While you're in there, please subscribe to us, because we want to build the channel, be able to build all the content, make us as visible as we can to as many people possible. That's our mission here at Onside Radio. So huge shout out to Enrique, Bromar Smelly, Ray, Mike, everyone who's currently in the chat. Really good insight here, by the way, by Enrique, who wrote, "My brother had epilepsy, and with a specific diet, it eventually went into remission." I'm really happy to hear that. And yeah, it sounds like, from what I've learned about epilepsy the last couple of days with Justin Fields having it, sounds to me like a lot of folks outgrow it, which is great, and I hope that's the case for him. So, Tito, he mentioned his brother was able to put it into remission with a specialized diet. What if, the doctor tells you, yeah, you can kick this with a diet, but you've got to put pineapple on your pizza? That's the dietary secret.
It's unfortunate. I'm going to have to deal with epilepsy for the rest of my life. It's an unfortunate thing. Hate to see it.
Dude, I realized I argue with so many people on social media. You know, there are a lot of social media. It basically exists for people to argue and bitch and moan. It exists for snowflakes and for bullies. A lot of people will argue about politics on social media. I stay away from that. I'm not here to divide people, but I do get in a lot of arguments with people who put pineapple on their pizza, and also with people who overcook their steak. There's an epidemic. Our good friend, and listen, I can still call this man a friend and disagree with him wholeheartedly on how he cooks his steak, but our buddy Alphonse Sidney from Hangover Time tweeted something out today with he was retweeting a photo of somebody's steak that was, it was kind of overdone, actually. It was like medium. It was medium cooked steak. And Alf made a comment about how it was way undercooked. I'm like, undercooked? You kidding me? If somebody served me that steak, I mean, listen,
I'd be amped. I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, if I'm at somebody's house and they serve it to me, I don't want to insult them. I'll eat it. But if somebody serves me that at a restaurant, I'm sending it back. It's overdone. And then Tito, when I commented on that steak being overcooked, and this has happened to me before, I come to find out there's a disproportional number of people on Twitter who like their steak overcooked. I get comments from people like, "Oh, what are you, a vampire? Oh, are you some kind of a carn? It's disgusting. I eat well-done steak." And I know that Twitter skews a little bit young, right? Facebook is where the senior citizens hang out. I don't know. I feel, even though I'm in my late 30s, I get into a lot of discussions with people on Twitter who are college aged, and so I'm kind of worried that society is headed to hell. Because if the younger generation, if the Gen Zs are cooking their steak medium well, I would actually prefer us to set a course of extinction. I don't know if I want the human race to continue if 30 years from now it's going to be normal to have a steak medium well or well done. Do you think this is a generational thing, Tito?
I mean, the only people I know that eat meat like steak, they're like me, where they like it medium or medium rare.
Yeah.
I've never met somebody who is above medium well, and if you are, you're not my friend for that circumstance. I like to view cooking steaks as an art and not a science. There's no specific time range to it. You gotta have a vibe to it. You gotta feel it out.
Yeah, that's true. Mike in the YouTube chat says. He says pineapple on pizza is good, provided it also has ham, but he does say overcooked steak is a huge no. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's a weird number of people on Twitter who like their steak overdone. It's becoming a big problem, I would say, man. Oh, my God. Yeah, I want to tackle the roundtable question for today on Onside Radio. I was entertained when I saw this one, and of course all of our hosts, we step into the roundtable every day. We weigh in on a topic. At the end of the day, usually it's Alex Aguirre, but since he's at a bachelor party, it's going to fall into Tito's lap. I would imagine that he's got to post the master cut today. While the Marlins approach 500 and continue their surprise play, has the young starting pitching staff and Jazz Chisholm made them must-watch TV every night. Okay. Do you want my real answer, or do you want me to sugarcoat it? Like, do you want me to bullshit you, or do you want me to give you my real opinion on that? I'm happy that the Marlins are doing well. I'm happy that the rotation is disgustingly good. I'm really happy that Jazz Chisholm is becoming one of the most entertaining players in baseball, and I'm excited for this Marlins team. I really am. But if you're going to ask me the question, have they become must-watch TV every night? I'm not going to jerk your chain. No. Guys, it's the first month of the regular season. We're talking about regular season April baseball. I've also got right now the stretch run of an NHL regular season where my Florida Panthers are doing awesome. It's the stretch run of the European soccer campaigns. It's the early portion of the Major League Soccer season, which, and even with baseball, like the first couple of games get me really exciting. Opening day should be a national holiday, but once you start to settle into the first month of the season, I tune out for a couple of months, right? It's the final stretch run of the NBA regular season. The playoffs are going to be starting pretty soon. I'm not going to lie to you and say that late April regular season baseball is must-see TV. I'm not going to jerk your chain. I'm going to tell you that when it comes to the point where the Stanley Cup finals are wrapping up, the NBA finals, once the European soccer season is dusted and they're on their summer break, that's when I become baseball man. I mean, but by the time late June comes around, show me what the Marlins are doing in June and July, and that's when I decide whether to get invested. And again, I'm happy the team is doing well. I'm a Marlins fan, and you know what? I've been thinking about this a lot over the last couple of weeks, watching this Marlins team, and I do watch them. They're not must-see TV every single night for me right now. I've really started to forgive this franchise for the sins of previous ownership, okay? Because I'm liking the project of Derek Jeter, Bruce Sherman, Kim Ang, and all the baseball people, Don Mattingly, what they're doing. They've revitalized the minor leagues. They put together a really nice young team that I think can actually shock a lot of people this year. So I'm starting to get invested in Marlins baseball. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're must-watch TV every night when I have so many other things going on in the sporting world. I actually appreciate the fact that there's more day baseball this season than there usually is, because a lot of times I have the pleasure of actually watching the Marlins play during my show. We have it on the big screen here, but no, they're not must-watch TV for me every night. How do you feel about that, Tito? It's like I can be excited about what the Marlins are doing, but I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's appointment viewing for me every night. Once we get to June and July, then we can talk.
I'm with you, just because I can't buy into baseball in April. Like I can't view it as like, oh man, can't wait to sit down for 9 innings of Marlins baseball. And that's not to discredit the talent that they have on the team. I think it just more so has to do with the sport than anything else, right?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, much rather watch an intense hockey game, especially when the Panthers are really good. I'd much rather watch any NBA game than the Marlins, because it's just a more entertaining sport.
Yeah.
If an MLS's game is on, it's taking precedence over the Marlins.
Yeah, the MLS has actually been really entertaining.
Right.
The first 3 days of the season, we had like 15 golazos around the league.
Exactly. And this is not to poo-poo on the Marlins. It's just more in the sense of, like, baseball can be tough to watch. And I'm one of the few people that I like. If you paid me to do it, I could sit down through a 9-inning baseball game. If you told me I had a choice, I'd pick a lot of things over that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 844-416-8123. We're going to talk some Dolphins NFL draft with Louis D. Sung from the 5 Reasons Sports Network when we come back. Hey, over the last 30 years, South Florida fans have always been able to count on one radio show that gives you the brutal honesty you need. Orlando Alzagari in the Onside Zone, daily from noon to 3 p.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter-Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnSideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. Get the brutal honesty every day with the Onside Zone with a Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on your home for sports talk in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com.
Join the Inter-Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
Miami Heat getting the victory over the San Antonio Spurs yesterday, 107-87. Bam Adebayo puts up 23 points. Heat's next game is Friday night. They tip off against Atlanta. Tip-off is slated for 7:30. Miami Marlins split 2 games with the Baltimore Orioles. They got a 3-0 victory yesterday. The Marlins are back in action tonight. Daniel Castano on the mound against the San Francisco Giants. First pitch set for 9:45. The Florida Panthers back on the ice. The battle for first place in the Central Division with the Carolina Hurricanes. Puck drop slated for 7 p.m. And folks, don't remember Saturday, Inter Miami takes on the Philadelphia Union. You can join Big O and Alex Donno at Dangerous Minds Brewing for the pregame show starting at 7 o'clock. You can stay and watch the match. And then at 8, Chris Whittingham, Thomas Rongan, Fernando Fiore with the call. You can listen to that right here on OnSideRadio.com. And remember, folks, this is South Florida's home for local sports talk, OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Dude, 1 week away from the NFL draft. Going to bring on a very good friend of the show. He's the owner of Fin Maniacs, contributor on 5 Reasons Sports, Louis D. Sung. And Louis, you're one of the people that I fight with on social media. Now, you agree with me on steak, and we'll get to that, but you are a pineapple on pizza lover. But at the end of the day, Louis, we have so many common interests outside of pizza. You and I are able to stay friends, and I think other people need to follow our example. You can have arguments and disagreements with people, but at the end of the day, we can find a way to coexist, right?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's really not that difficult. It's all you got to do. Honestly, just get another pizza. Like, why do you have to have a fight over? Or get half and half.
Now, do you ever – now, you're with me on the steak thing. I find it shocking that anytime – like, sometimes I see these tweets from, like, 19-year-olds when they tweet out, like, a medium-cooked steak, and they're like, oh, this is so raw, this is gross. I'm like, dude, if anything, that's overcooked. Like, is this a generational thing, Louis, that I think a lot of the kids out there are just overcharring their steaks, and I can't take it?
I think what happens is that they get taught by their parents who are very much into making sure that their kids are safe and that the food is completely cooked through, so there are no parasites or germs in them, and that way so they get used to that. So now that when they see a little bit of pink or whatever inside of the meat, then they start to have a heart attack because, oh, my mom told me this is raw. I can't eat this.
Yeah, I was telling people in our YouTube chat that, like, I grew up with a father. Like, my father basically eats his steak raw, and he likes to grill. So if ever, like, to this day, if I'm at a barbecue at my dad's house, if you want your steak medium rare, you have to ask my dad for medium well, because if you ask for, like, anything less than that, you're going to get it completely still mooing. So I grew up on very undercooked steak. But, yeah, I did want to transition to some draft stuff with you, Lewis, as we're 1 week away. Are you like me and you're starting to get a little bit tired of the speculation? Because draft season, basically, we start doing mocks and we start speculating the morning after the Super Bowl. So we've been doing this for almost 3 months now. Or are you just ready to end the mocks and to end the speculation and to just get the first round here already?
Well, the funny thing is that all this time I kept telling myself, eventually I'll do a mock. And I have been excited for this coming draft cycle, but it's just I haven't really even done any mocks. So I haven't really, let's say I haven't gotten tired of it because I haven't even done it yet. It's the only thing I really am tired of, I guess you could say, is debating whether or not they should pick Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle or Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase. Because at the end of the day, man, regardless of who they walk away with, that's a major boost to the offense one way or another. Everybody brings something specific to the table that the Dolphins need more of.
Every time we get a new measurement on Devonta Smith, he gets smaller, right? He had his pro day a few weeks ago. He was supposedly 169 pounds. Then at the medical combine in Indy, he was 166 pounds. Be real with me. Is that a little bit worrisome? Like, and listen, if you can get him, maybe. Now, I don't think he would fall this far, but if he were to fall to 18, I would feel better about that. But to me, at number 6, to draft a guy who's that small at wide receiver, that would concern me a little bit. Am I wrong about that?
Ultimately, it depends on who's on the board, because that's what it all boils down to in the end. If Miami can somehow trade down a couple more spots and then pick Smith, that would be the best case scenario. If the worst case scenario is that they have to pick Smith at 6, I'm not going to be upset because, again, I know what he's going to bring to the table. The one thing that Miami is missing more than anything else, and that is the elite ability to run routes, get away from defenders, be open, and not only that, he has that familiarity with Tua, so it's basically a one-to-one transition, at least we're hoping, once Smith gets in there and starts learning what the offense is all about. I wouldn't be upset about drafting Smith at number 6. That being said, again, it depends on who's on the board, because if the Dolphins pick Devonta Smith over Kyle Pitts, for instance, I'm going to be upset. If the Miami Dolphins pick Devonta Smith over Jamar Chase, I won't be quite as upset because I know that Jamar Chase is basically more of what Miami already has, but I don't think there's a question of which one is the more physically gifted wide receiver. So it comes down to, do you want the better overall raw talent, or do you want the absolute best possible fit for what Miami is missing in that offense? Because if you're looking for the talent, it's Pitts or Chase. If you're looking for like instant plug-in because he's the one thing we're missing, then it's Devonta Smith, hands down.
Joined here by Louis D. Sung on Onside Radio. Everyone can agree that quarterbacks are going to go 1, 2, 3. Jacksonville, Jets, San Francisco. What do you think Atlanta and Cincinnati are going to do at 4 and 5?
And that's where things get interesting, isn't it? So I can't imagine that Atlanta is going to be looking at a wide receiver because they still have Julio Jones, if I'm not mistaken. They still have Calvin Ridley, if I'm not mistaken. So wide receivers pretty much set on that front. So maybe they need a tight end. They could pick Kyle Pitts. If that's the case, then all right, fine. You got your Kyle Pitts. And then it comes down to the Bengals. Well, I would imagine that with Cincinnati just losing their quarterback for the year last season because they couldn't get any decent blocking in front of him, I would think they would want to get their hands on someone like Penny Sewell because you want Joe Burrow to make it through the season this time. So now if they do end up picking Jamar Chase, well, then again, Now, you may have a team who's going to think that, well, maybe Miami's interested in Penny Sewell. Maybe we need to trade up to get there. So let's see if we can get a little extra to get our hands on this so-called generational left tackle talent. And at that point, then Miami can get Devonta Smith later on anyway, or Jalen Waddle, because that's another name we haven't even brought up yet. So either way,
true.
Miami is in an excellent position to pretty much do whatever they want. If they lose out on a couple of these guys, it's really not that big a deal because there's just so much talent. I just don't want to do something crazy like trade all the way down to, let's say, 20 or something like that. Then I have a problem because we may have a lot of future draft picks set up, but this is such a loaded draft that I kind of just want to take what we've got and run with it now.
You know, if the decision at number 6 came down for whatever reason to Smith versus Waddle, who do you like better? Because I kind of like Waddle better.
Well, can I ask you first why you like Waddle better?
Speed, and he's a little bit thicker for his frame.
Okay. So I get that, and I totally understand why somebody would feel that way. He's more explosive as a player.
Explosive is a good word.
The impression is that he would hold up better, but remember, this is the guy who actually did get hurt last season, as opposed to Smith, who, to my knowledge, did not. So, I keep getting told that this guy's going to snap like a twig. Somebody linebacker's going to hit him, and he's going to, like, crumple into a ball, and he's going to be able to throw it in the trash can. It's like we keep saying the same thing about Jakeem Grant. I have a friend of mine who says the same thing. Like, we can't put Grant in the slot because he's going to get crushed by some linebacker. Grant, and mind you, I'm not comparing the body type of Smith to Grant, but what I mean is that we keep saying that Grant's going to get hurt because he's going to get hurt, because he's going to get hit. Every time Grant's gotten hurt is because he tore something here because he was running too hard or something along those lines, not because he's getting blown up. So I really don't think that Smith is in as much danger as we're trying to make him out to be. There are skinny wide receivers out there, and the obvious comparison has always been Marvin Harrison, that he's an elite route runner. He knows when to get down. He's not going to try to barrel through anybody, which is fine. We just need somebody to get open and move the chains because that's something that we've been struggling with as of late.
Getting some good stuff here from Louis D. Sung, owner of Fin Maniacs, contributor to 5 Reasons Sports. You know, Louis, Tito Benach and I are captains of the Say No to Sewell Club. Like, if for whatever reason he does drop to 6, we're not fans of the idea of drafting him. You know, obviously he is known by many as a generational talent at tackle. But my question to you would be, how do you feel about the current Dolphins O-line? And it's not to say they shouldn't make some additions in the draft. I'm not saying it's complete, but I actually like the Dolphins' offensive line. They're very young, and I thought that over the final 5 weeks or so of the season, like I look at what Austin Jackson and Robert Hunt, especially at the tackles, were doing from week 12 on, and those guys were really looking a lot better. I mean, how do you feel about the current crop of linemen with Miami?
I'm definitely not against adding more talent. I'm just not using a first-rounder at this point.
Agreed.
Austin Jackson is very young. He's very talented, and he had his good moments. He also had his bad moments, but that comes with being a rookie. Right. Then you have Solomon Kindley, who had, again, he looked very good at the start, kind of started to fall off a little bit at the end, but you know what? Again, he's a rookie. He's young. Robert Hunt, same deal. The only thing that I can really say that I don't like right now is the whole center position thing, because while I'm very interested in seeing what what was it, Matt Skura? Is that how you say it? Skura?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, Matt. He has a lot of blocking talent according to all the metrics.
He can't snap.
He just had like a really bad run of bad luck snaps. And granted, keep this in mind. It's not like, all season long he was just snapping balls wrong left and right. It was like a string of bad snaps that basically ruined his reputation in like 1 or 2 weeks.
Right.
So that can be fixed. It's not something that's broke. If it's broken, that can be fixed. It's like, hey, make sure you're snapping this instead of this. You can fix that mechanic. It's not like he can't block. So that's the most important thing of all. Look at Jamil Douglas. He had to get thrown many years ago into the center position, and he was absolutely rotten as a snapper because he'd never done it before. But eventually he fixed it. He became a center, if I'm not mistaken. He's playing somewhere as a backup somewhere.
You know, Louis, we talked about...
And he can snap.
Right. We talked a lot about the 6th pick, but what are you thinking at 18? Are you thinking edge rusher there? Or if, say, Najee Harris is around, is that just too good to pass up?
Well, I did a mock draft with one Colby Daniels not that long ago, and when I had the situation where I had to pick a Zaven Collins or Micah Parsons or Najee Harris, again, I went with the guy that I think can help fix the offense, Najee Harris.
Yep.
All due respect to Myles Gaskin. All due respect to Savon Ahmed. All due respect to my guy Patrick Laird, who doesn't get nearly as much snaps as I want him to. I want a stud running back who I know for a fact can be the workhorse back. I think Harris can do that. He's familiar with Tua. That helps a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's going to just help the offense move forward, take that next step. The defense is already really good. Brian Flores has proven he can take undrafted free agents and make something out of them. Look at Nick Needham, who just got re-signed, if I'm not mistaken. So you have a situation where the defense is already solid. They haven't really lost any pieces aside from Kyle Van Noy. And I'm really excited to see what another year of development can do with these young Bucks. So if Harris isn't there, or if Miami decides, you know what, we're good with running backs, which I don't believe they should be, right. But my first choice is running back. I don't think that's what the Dolphins will do, but that would be what I would do.
I love it. Great stuff here, as always, by Louis D. Sung. That's where you follow him on Twitter. Louis D. Sung. Check him out. Fin Maniacs, 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thank you so much, man, and enjoy the next week with more speculation, mocks, until we finally get to draft day. Enjoy the rest of that time, man.
Always a pleasure to be here, Donno.
Always love having Louis on. We'll wrap up the 3 o'clock hour when we come back here on Onside Radio. Why can't I get a job like this? We all need to move to Italy if they're handing out jobs like this. I'll tell you what I'm talking about after this. Hey, Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com every week. Keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports and when news breaks. So catch the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
to serve, to treat,
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits
with skilled surgeons,
advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams.
We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
It's toast. When South Floridians need hurricane windows, there's only one crew to call, Brett and Tom at B&T Windows and Doors. They came to the crib last year, installed PGT windows and doors, and now I'm set. No more plywood, no more knuckle-busting wing nuts. PGT windows and doors will keep me and my family safe the next time a named storm comes rolling on through. Call B&T today, 954-233-0126, or bntwindowsanddoors.com. And P.S., do me a favor, tell them you heard about them on OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
When you're looking to add that extra style and protection for your home or business, visit A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie or Sunrise, where plantation shutters are a major part of our business, and they look great in any home. We have them in white, stained colors, and wood tones. We can even motorize your shutters like the one in the OnSideRadio.com studio. A Shade Above Window Fashions, 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Bro, this is unbelievable. Can you imagine having a job like this? A hospital employee in Italy has been accused of skipping work on full pay for 15 years, local media report. I mean, can you imagine? You don't show up to your job for 15 years. You collect your full salary, benefits, and it takes 15 years before you get outed. The man is alleged to have stopped turning up to work at the Ciaccio Hospital in the southern city of Catanzaro back in 2005. He's now being investigated for fraud, extortion, and abuse of office, Italian news agency ANSA reports, and that's a legit agency. I've heard of ANSA. He was reportedly paid 538,000 euros, which, by my rough estimate, is over $600,000 for those wondering the conversion. In total, over the years, he is thought not to have been working. 6 managers at the hospital are also being investigated in connection with the alleged absenteeism. The arrests are the result of a lengthy police investigation into absenteeism and suspected fraud in the Italian public sector. The employee was a civil servant and was assigned to a job in the hospital in 2005. It was at this point he stopped going to work, the police said. The police have also accused him of threatening his manager to stop her from filing a disciplinary report against him. Is this guy a mob boss? Is this Don Corleone? The manager later retired, police added, and his ongoing absence was never noticed by her successor or by human resources. My wife works in a hospital. I mean, from the sounds of it, this person had an administrative job, like he wasn't a nurse or something, because, you know, they would notice if you're not there. So this person had some sort of an administrative job in this hospital. Working at hospitals can be an absolute bitch. Okay, I mean, my wife is an ultrasound tech. She's had an especially tough week at work this week. She works overnight, so she primarily sees ER patients, and that can be a huge pain in the neck. So just hearing her horror stories, I've got to tell her that, honey, we have to move to Italy. You can get a job in a hospital in Italy, not turn up for 15 years, and you might be able to collect over $500,000 over that period. This is the life, man. Tito, I think that you or maybe Alex Aguirre are just going to stop showing up and try to collect full pay. This is the life. Not surprising whatsoever. And the funny thing was, I retweeted this story earlier today. And, people, I have some followers who live over in the motherland, some people I know through soccer Twitter who live over in Italy. And as soon as I retweeted this story, I got a half dozen reactions from Italians saying, not surprising whatsoever. This sort of thing happens a lot. You're talking about a government job. We Americans, we complain enough about our government. Over in Italy, a lot of bureaucracy. Nothing ever gets done over there. If you try to go to court, appeal something, the process takes years. I mean, Tito, I have an uncle over there in Italy. I don't know if this situation has gotten any better, but my uncle filed for, or he or his ex-wife, whoever it was, filed for divorce in 1988. They didn't get the divorce finalized until 93. To go through any sector of the Italian courts is an absolute nightmare.
Look, man, if there's any way I can not work and get paid, I'm in. You don't gotta say whatever. I'm in.
It's like in The Sopranos. They had those no-show construction jobs where it's, we'll give you a job, you get a union gig, you get a paying salary, you don't even have to actually show up to the construction site. That is unbelievable. And, Big O was asking if this is a relative of mine. I don't have any relatives in Catanzaro as far as I know. I do have some distant relatives in southern Italy. Most of my immediate relatives, like aunts and uncles, cousins, live in northern Italy. But my father's roots do go to the south. So it's possible. This might be a distant relative. I have not seen the name of this man who's being investigated now, a civil servant who stopped working over 15 years ago. That is absolutely incredible. We'll get the 4 o'clock hour kicked off when we come back. Remember, Ira Winterman's going to join us at 4:20 to talk a little NBA basketball. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com knows you're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Michael Christian.
Star Wars fans rejoice. Knights of the Old Republic, one of the best Star Wars video games of all time, is finally getting a remake. BioWare Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic came out in 2003, and it was about a Jedi who turned into a Sith and then turned into whatever you wanted him to be. It was a very interesting game with fantastic mechanics and great dialogue that really gave you power to determine which way the story went, and actually ended up influencing the entire Mass Effect trilogy. Well, the new game is being developed by Asper. It's a new gaming company that kind of helped some of the porting with Knights of the Old Republic in recent years. They don't have a release date yet, but the fact that they're working on this remake is exciting for all of us Star Wars fans.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E-Report. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 4 o'clock hour of Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno here on OnsideRadio.com. I'm breaking in like a a mask that I don't usually wear. You know, we wear masks in the studio because I work in relatively close quarters with Tito, Alex, whoever's in the studio with me. So, you know, we're respectful. Although at some point pretty soon we're all going to be fully vaccinated. So I don't know if we can ever stop wearing these goddamn things. I love it though. I don't even want to put it that way, but I'm breaking in a new mask today, and it's so tight because I wear these like cloth masks here because it's easier to talk through one of these than it is through like the hospital masks. But if you're breaking in a new one, it's like squeezing my nose. It's very uncomfortable. So hopefully I can stretch this thing out. Oh, well, there. I think I just ripped it a little bit. We're good. It stretched out a little bit more. But, man, I take this virus very seriously. Hopefully we're over this hump pretty soon. We can get society back to normal. But in the meantime, we mask up. We respect each other. We do it the right way. Broadcasting live, as always, inside Drive Pink Stadium here in Fort Lauderdale. I'm overlooking these pink, black, gray, and white seats that are absolutely calling my name for the next Inter-Miami home game. Inter-Miami have a road game coming up 2 days from now, Saturday night. They'll be in Philadelphia. You can join us, watch that game with us, watch Big O and I do the pregame, halftime, postgame show. Austin Robillard is going to be stopping by as well, our pal from Red Card Radio. He's going to do some postgame talk with us. We're going to be at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano Beach. So that's going to be our road watch party destination all season long, my friends. Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. I'm going to be checking it out for the first time. I've been told that our broadcast position is going to be right next to the beer tanks. You know, they brew their own beer out there. That's great. And I was looking at the beer menu the other day. They've got some IPAs, which I love. They've got a Hefeweizen. I love the wheat beer. Give me as many carbs as possible, man. I hear people talking about a low-carb diet. I'm on a high-carb, high-gluten diet. It's been working for me for a while, my friends. You can text us at 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. You can send us as many text messages as you want, whether we're live on the air or not. The texts come through 24 hours a day. You can also watch us, streaming us live on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search Onside Radio, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, the like button. Smash that because that helps us pump out the algorithm. So make sure you do that. Mike wrote in the YouTube chat, and I try to pronounce Mike's last name, Jamrosek. I'm butchering that, I'm sure. Oh, Andy in Scotland is in the chat now as well. Welcome, Andy, from across the pond. Mike writes, I'm not exactly sold that wide receiver is an essential pick at number 6. It is a deep wide receiver class, and Sewell or Slater would greatly improve our O-line. Does that idea excite you, Tito, to say, hey, we can pass on wide receiver until the second round? Maybe. You got to make sure you get Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell at number 6. Will that excite Tito?
I mean, hey, look, if you want to pass on, a generational guy like Kyle Pitts.
That's the thing.
Another generational talent potentially in Jamar Chase and, Heisman wide receiver, Devonta Smith and, electric receiver and Jalen Waddle. Hey, go be my guest, man. Go ahead. Let me know how that works out.
The texter did write in, I just think Baltimore or Pittsburgh will get Najee Harris and kill us before 18. Yeah, I don't know about Najee falling to 18. I'm not convinced about that. I honestly, I get worried on Kyle Pitts that Atlanta might take Pitts, right? Because I don't know for sure that the Falcons are going to draft a quarterback because they've really leveraged that restructure with Matt Ryan, so they may end up looking elsewhere. They may end up taking they may take Pitts. Hopefully they take Sewell, or hopefully Cincinnati takes Sewell. And the Dolphins are not going to have to worry about that, him even being on the board at number 6, to be honest with you. Marla writes in, it's horrible when the mask tugs at your ears. Yeah, I was saying, Tito, that, listen, you and I, of course, we're very respectful. We take this virus very seriously. We mask up even when we're in studio, when we're working here. But you ever, when you're breaking in a new mask, and Tito, you're wearing a similar mask to me, these cloth ones, because it's easier to talk through these than it is the thick cloth ones. But I'm wearing a new one today, a newer one that I don't usually wear, and it's squeezing my nose, man. I've got to stretch this thing out a little bit more. It's very uncomfortable. I hope you're doing all right.
Yeah, I feel like the garter mask is definitely better for radio purposes.
It is.
It's just way easier to talk.
Yeah, because I have this, probably the most beautiful mask that I have in my collection is this thick Inter-Miami cloth mask. But when I wear it, if I try to speak on the microphone, it's like Charlie Brown's teacher, like, "Hey guys, we're here inside the Drive Pink Stadium. We're talking about Inter Miami." Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, like, I think we've really kind of found a groove in terms of talking with the mask for sure, right? Like in the beginning, it was very difficult, but now we're full go. You know,
it's made my lungs stronger.
Oh
you have to project a little bit more.
Well, yeah, and then you have the Viking blood as well. So
that's right. Yeah, Tito, I haven't been sick since 2013. So there's something with that Viking blood. I'm telling you, the time in 2013 when I had walking pneumonia, I think that charged my immune system. They should, I should actually donate my antibodies to science. We can cure all sorts of virus and disease with Donno's antibodies.
The Donno gene. That's what we need.
We got a couple of big Florida Panthers games coming up. I heard. I was talking with Big O after the crossover. Panthers have a 2-game set coming up with Carolina. Carolina has had the Panthers number. That's a team you're directly competing with for the division title. And I think the division title, it's really important for the Panthers. This team hasn't won a playoff series since 1996. I think it's important to at least get past the first round. You haven't gotten past the first round in 25 years. So I think it's important for your fans. Of course, I'd love to see this team win a Stanley Cup, but at least getting past the first round, I think, has to be a priority to really show, the fruits of Bill Zito and Joel Quenneville's labor to improve this squad. Getting past the first round at least is key. And if you win the division, you get to go up against the 4th place team. If you come in second, you go up against 3rd place. Your 3rd place, you go up against 2nd place. And if you come in 2nd or 3rd place in the division, that means you're going to face either Tampa Bay or Carolina in a first-round series, and that's going to be really tough, okay? Panthers right now are tied in points for 2nd place in the division, tied in points for 1st place in the division with Carolina at 65, which means these 2 games coming up with Carolina are going to be very important. Panthers are 3 points ahead of Tampa Bay, but they've played 2 more games than Tampa Bay. So, Tampa could theoretically make those up with the games in hand if they win both of them. And then 4th place Nashville, they're in the dust. Like, the Panthers are going to be one of the top 3 teams in the division. No question. Nashville is in 4th place with 52 points. Dallas is in 5th place with 50. If the Panthers were to go up against, it's going to be one of those 2 teams because Detroit is 10 points behind 6th place. So actually, it could be Chicago as well. So if you're the 1st place team in the division, and you go up against either Nashville, Dallas, or Chicago, the Panthers, I believe, smoke any of those 3 teams in a playoff series. And so would Carolina, so would Tampa Bay. Whoever wins the division is going to smoke the 4th place team in the first round of the playoffs. But the 2 and the 3, it's a trap. Like the 2 or the 3, you're going up against either Carolina or Tampa Bay, and it's dog eat dog. And I think the Panthers could very well lose either of those first round series. So it's very important to come in 1st place in the division. I was talking with Big O before my show, and he said, the Panthers really need to win both of these games coming up with Carolina because then you're making a statement. Yeah, I would love to win the Powerball. It's a little bit of course I'd love to see it. Of course I want the Panthers to take 4 out of a possible 4 points against Carolina these next 2 nights. That might be getting a little bit greedy, unless Vincent Trocheck is injured and scratched. That I don't know how the Panthers are going to take all 4 points in those upcoming games. I would be very happy if the Panthers can do to Carolina in these next 2 games what they did to Tampa Bay over the weekend, and that's get a victory and even an overtime loss. If you can take 3 points out of 4 in the next 2 games against Carolina, I would be very happy with that because that means you would come out of these 2 games ahead of Carolina in the standings. You actually make the statement that you can do something against that team if you get a regulation victory and an overtime loss. I think that would really satisfy me as a Panthers fan because, the Panthers have done pretty damn well against Tampa in the regular season, who I think is the better team anyway. I mean, they're the defending Stanley Cup champions. But Carolina has really owned the Panthers. They've had the Panthers' number. So these next two games are going to be very, very important. And I think the Panthers need to get, if they can get at least one victory and maybe an overtime loss over these next two, I think that's going to be the utmost importance to this Panthers team. We're going to talk some Miami Heat in about 10 minutes with Ira Winderman. Jimmy Butler said something last night on where the Heat will finish in the standings. He says, I can't speak for everybody, but I don't care, Butler said of the standings. I really don't. I don't pay attention to it. I'm not on the World Wide Web like that, which is a great line, so I can't tell you who is there. I know in our team meeting we talk about it. All we got to do is get there. We get there talking about the playoffs, us as a team. I'll handle the rest, he said. Now, listen, I'm happy to hear Jimmy say that because you know, what he's saying there is you can't control what the other teams are doing. You can only control what you're doing, and I respect that. And the Heat are on a 3-game winning streak. They get a very comfortable win last night over San Antonio. They had a comfortable win in the game prior and a game-winning shot against Brooklyn this past Sunday. So I'm happy with the current form of this Miami Heat team. But as far as the standings, I care. I don't want the Heat to have to go into a play-in. I want to make sure the Heat can secure, you know, top. So what is it, Tito? Anything past 6, you have to play a play-in. Is 6 where you're locked into a
6?
First-round
You're
series?
fine. Anything between 7 and 10, you are in the play-in.
And the Heat are in the 7 seed right now.
Correct.
So
They're a game behind the Knicks.
And you got Atlanta coming up, which is good. They're a game ahead of you, so that's going to be really crucial for the playoff standing. So listen, it may not be important to Jimmy. He just says get in. Yeah, I want you to get in, but I want you to avoid the play-in. So you've got to be a top 6 team. I would like to be top 4 because if you're number 4, you get to host your first-round playoff series. So it's very important to me. Something last night I was thrilled with was the performance of Tyler Hero, especially in the fourth quarter. Like, we actually had clutch Hero. I mean, Tito, he almost single-handedly outscored the San Antonio Spurs in the fourth quarter. 14 points. San Antonio had 15. We also got some really good minutes, as we've been seeing these last few games, from Dwayne Dedmon. I like this stat from Christian Hernandez that he put out there. The Miami Heat have a plus 32.7 net rating in the first 55 minutes of Dwayne Dedmon's career with the team. I will admit, when the Heat signed Dwayne Dedmon, it barely moved the needle for me. I was not excited whatsoever. I had really, really wanted LaMarcus Aldridge before he ended up with Brooklyn. And then, you know, it turns out LaMarcus has to retire for the irregular heartbeat, which I'm really, really sorry about. But it actually ended up working better for obviously I feel bad for the man who's dealing with a health issue that ended his career. But it actually ended up working out for the Heat that they missed out on Aldridge and ended up signing Dwayne Dedmon because he's been really good so far. So I was happy about that. I got to point this out. This is an incredible stat. I have more respect for this man, I think, than I realized I did. Duncan Robinson has now made 134 consecutive appearances without an absence. So you got that from Duncan Robinson, 134 consecutive appearances. Hasn't missed any games for a head cold. Hasn't missed any games for an imaginary knee injury like Victor Oladipo. I mean, how does Victor Oladipo go into that locker room and look at Duncan Robinson in the eyes when Oladipo has actually worn his suit more than he's worn a Heat jersey since being acquired? Duncan Robinson hasn't missed a game in almost 2 full seasons worth of games, and Oladipo is getting hangnails and head colds, and his MRIs are coming out perfectly clean, but, my knee hurts a little bit. I don't know if I want to risk playing on this. I mean, it just gives me all more respect for a guy like Duncan Robinson. I mean, unless Oladipo can come back and be a big factor in the playoffs, I don't touch that guy this offseason. I let him ride. He's failing his audition. Like Bill Parcells says, the best ability is availability, and Victor Oladipo is not helping me when he can't even travel on road trips. I mean, you're telling me Duncan Robinson can play for 134 straight games, and Victor Oladipo, his MRI is fine, his X-rays are negative, but this guy can't step on the court, and he's going to miss games when he has a head cold. I mean, a head cold? This is ridiculous. Oh, God. And Enrique points out something a little bit painful. The Heat are in 7th, right? I mentioned the Hawks being a game in front of the Heat. They're in 5th. The Celtics are in 6th. The New York stinking Knicks are in 4th. Oh, we've got to change that.
Donno, do you realize they're celebrating over being a 4th seed?
Because when's the last time they've even been a top
Exactly.
4?
Exactly.
30 years?
Different expectations over here, all right? We're accustomed to winning, and we're not happy with where we are. Knicks are they're just happy to be somewhat relevant.
Yeah, they have this warped sense of self-importance, right? I mean, Julius Randle has a couple of good weeks, and they're saying he's better than Chris Bosh ever was, and now they're in 4th place. It's like, if there was an NBA Super League, would you let the Knicks in? I mean, they'd be in the NBA Toilet League.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Willie Molina was asking me, where are the best calzones in Miami or Broward? I don't know, man. I don't eat a lot of calzones down here. I don't know if this place still exists. Do you remember there used to be a pizza joint? They had one in like downtown Miami called Archie's. I don't even know if that place still exists.
I think it does. I'm not sure.
I used to enjoy the calzones there. They weren't bad. I've had the one at Cazzola's as well, and it's not bad. But I don't know. I can't really co-sign and say that this is an elite calzone. I don't really know if I've had one in Dade or Broward County that blows me away so much.
Well, you're naming two places in Dade, because it's the superior county.
I mean, I barely spend. I mean, I work in Broward, but I go straight home. I get the hell out of Broward and go back to Dade. The only good thing going on in Broward is Drive Pink Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and actually, even I remember when I lived in Broward for a while. I can remember I lived in Broward from like 2012 through 2013. And I remember when I had a birthday in 2013, and I celebrated by myself because my wife had to work that night, and I remember I decided I really want a calzone. I was living in Plantation, and so I Googled where can I buy a calzone in Plantation, and it sent me to Hungry Howie's, and it was just, the calzone was nothing special. I remember I got it, and it's like, all right, I guess it's a calzone, but this is like a glorified Hot Pocket.
But what's the difference between a calzone and a stromboli?
I'm honestly not sure. I don't know if I've ever had stromboli. I don't know if that's not really. Yeah. It's not really an authentic dish. I don't think.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I've never. I think stromboli might be one of those deep Southern Italian things. If anything, I don't spend a lot of time south of Rome because it's it gets a little sketchy down there.
I saw somebody say they referred to stromboli as "I'm gonna have a boli tonight," and I was like, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. No need for that."
Man. Yeah, they have another thing that they have in Italy, which is similar to a calzone, is panzerotto. Panzerotti being plural, they have really good ones in Milan, and that's pretty. There's a lot of different things that are similar. Oh, Andy in Scotland says, "Did I miss the job you'd most like?" Intrigued. Yeah, I mentioned it on Twitter. We talked about it at the end of the 3 o'clock hour. A hospital employee in Italy didn't turn up for work for 15 straight years and still got paid his full salary, over $500,000. That was my dream job, a no-show job. We'll talk NBA basketball, Miami Heat with Ira Winterman from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel next here on Onside Radio, the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, onsideradio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
You know where the Krispy Kreme is at?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
you remember,
about.
fat people use food places as landmarks. That's what we do, okay? Hey, you're going over there? Listen, you go a mile down, you turn a left on the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then you go down about 3 more blocks, there's a Tijuana Flats, make a right, 1 block down, it's right next to the 7-Eleven. That's a fat person, guaranteed. No, dude, it's 3 miles down right next to Carvel. That's fat people for you. That's we love food. We know our landmarks.
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnsideRadio.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run in behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in. Has to square with Robinson. He'll square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnsideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnsideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnsideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Fish fans, time to reel in the latest news in baseball with OnsideRadio.com's Marlins Minute. Here's Alex Aguirre.
The Marlins split their two-game series against the Baltimore Orioles with a win yesterday 3-0. The Fish were led by Trevor Rogers, who pitched 7 innings for the first time in his career to go along with 8 strikeouts and only 1 walk. Rogers now has the most strikeouts by a left-handed pitcher in Marlins history in their first 11 big league starts. Sandy Leon and Lewis Brinson stepped up in place for the injured Starling Marte and Jorge Alfaro, and they went for a combined 3 for 7 with a run. The Fish are back in action today to kick off a 3-city, 10-game road trip starting off against the San Francisco Giants for a 4-game series. Daniel Castano will be on the mound for Miami against Aaron Sanchez for the Giants. Sanchez has a 0-0 record with the 6.00 ERA and 7 strikeouts in his career against the Marlins. First pitch is at 9:45. Let's go Fish.
Keep up with the latest on the Miami Marlins by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
It's time to talk Miami Heat with NBA insider Ira Winderman. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report, exclusively at OnsideRadio.com. Let's go over the latest headlines locally with the Miami Heat and league-wide in the NBA with our very own Ira Winderman.
And I always look forward to this segment every week, the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report. We welcome in Ira Winderman from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Ira, when you're on the road covering games and you go out to a steakhouse, how do you order your steak? How do you like it cooked?
You know, it's interesting because I actually was out. I'm not going to name the restaurant, but some of the best steakhouses don't even ask you. They'll make it one way because it's the right way.
I like that.
Usually, I would say medium rare.
Yes.
And probably closer to rare. But we had an interesting one with my wife the other day because after we ordered, they didn't ask how we wanted it. And I think there's something to be said for a great chef knowing. I mean, think about this, Donno. Is there any other food you order other than beef or steak usually where they ask you how you want it? They don't ask you how you want your chicken. You know this from your tours of Italy. They don't ask you how you want your pasta, for example.
No.
If you're getting pasta in Rome, you're getting it al dente, and you darn well better eat it that way.
Damn right.
It really is weird, isn't it, that when it comes to steak, that there's a choice that the consumer, who is not the chef and knows nothing about cooking, gets to make the choice. I think the steakhouse should make the choice for you.
I'm with you. And Tito said something earlier that he was dead on, that cooking steak, you know, for people who do it the right way, for chefs and people who are good at it, it really is an art more than it is a science. And so I've got to default to the chef. Like, it's why I feel terrible for a chef if someone asks for ketchup to put on their steak, or if they're smothering it in steak sauce at a nice restaurant or they want it well done. I'm with you. I like the idea of defaulting to the chef. I want it done the way he envisions it.
You know, and I guess I am a snob in one direction because a lot of times when I'll order fish, you know, or especially, you know, like a salmon or something, I like it generally as raw as they'll allow, you know, legally in that case. But again, if you're in a place that's higher end and the waiters are more servers than waiters and know their craft, usually I'll just ask, what do you recommend? Well, you hope it's not the host of Onside Radio who's moonlighting at night, you know, over at a seafood place. But I think you just should defer to the people who know. That's the way I would go.
That is so spot on. This is great stuff from Ira. All right, let's talk some basketball. Ira, if Tyler Hero keeps playing the way he played last night, especially in the fourth quarter, he can endorse as many Chipotle bowls, cereals, rap songs as he wants to. Do you think, and by the way, really well done by you and Ethan. I really enjoyed Inside the Paint this week. It was fantastic. And you guys talked a little bit about Hero and all of the off-court things he's into and whether or not the Heat might be a little bit concerned about that. Do you think maybe Tyler now has a little bit of a chip on the shoulder with all these things developing?
I think Tyler always has had a chip on his shoulder. And I think some people just are different in the way they approach it, and God bless them if it's what fuels them. But anything comes down to what you do in your field of work, and in this case, on the court. And if you get that Tyler who is making shots and that into the game, that's all you want. That's all anyone wants. And then anything else is ancillary. And when the going is good, no one ever looks at any other part of the equation. So in a way, and I hope this more than anyone, I've always said I want the game to be the thing. I don't want to talk about a player's social media. I don't want to talk about a player's marketing. Right. I don't want anything to have to raise my curiosity as to what the heck is going on here? Because I think Tyler Hero is a really, really good player whose minimal upside is a Lou Williams type of player who the Heat will see tomorrow in Atlanta. You know, going old school, like I've said all week, the Vinnie Johnson type for the old schoolers. So if you just get that minimum, that basement, that floor for him, then it's all gravy after that, like what they got in the fourth quarter last night. He, you know, can be, as Eric Spoelstra loves the word, as ignitable as any player in your team, and you need ignitable players. You need pace changers when the games are coming together so quickly and teammates are exhausted, and even Andre Iguodala is getting the night off for rest. So that's all you need. Sometimes ignitability, though, also has to be consistent. You have to know you're going to get it 2-3 times a week instead of maybe once a week or once every other week. So, yes, the fourth quarter last night was very heartening. It was peak Tyler Hero. It was not unexpected. I think what was unexpected were the performances leading up to that.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And, you know, you mentioned Atlanta in the next game. Let's talk about the importance of that one, Ira. And I know that Jimmy Butler may say he doesn't care about the standings, but I care. I mean, be real with me. How important is it for the Heat to avoid the play-in? Because I do not want them to face the dreaded play-in.
It's unbelievable essential. As a matter of fact, one of the Ask Iras I'm writing for tomorrow at sunsentinel.com, one of my readers says, Ira, stop saying certain games count double. If the Heat didn't lose those games earlier in the season to Washington, into Orlando, into Detroit, you wouldn't be talking that way. But I would, because this is a playoff, a pandemic compacted season. It's down to 72 games. I can almost guarantee there will be tie for various seedings, and tiebreakers are head-to-head record. The Heat are 1-1 against the Hawks. Tomorrow is huge. If you're in a multi-team tiebreaker, you want as many wins against that group. For the Heat against Boston and New York and Charlotte, they're helped by the 3-0 against New York. So all those things really matter. So Friday night's game against Atlanta is huge for this reason. If you get a top 6 seed, not only do you advance directly to the best-of-7 first round, but you get at least 5 days off and possibly 6 days off. If you're 7 or 8 and have to play in the play-in games, you could be as little as 2 games between your last play-in game if you make it out of that, and your last play-in game and your first playoff game. So it's huge. The target should be at least number 6.
Right.
The preference, if you want to get out of the first round and not face the Nets or the Sixers or the Bucks, should be the 5-6, because then any 2 of these 3 teams will be 4 or 5 between the Knicks and the Hawks and the Celtics and the Heat. And if you get in there, I think you would agree, Donno, that any of those teams could beat any of those other teams in a best-of-7 series. So at least you give yourself a puncher's chance then in the second round.
We're joined here by Ira Winterman from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Ira, I know that I don't always say nice things about this guy. He's been playing well lately, and I see that Duncan Robinson has now made 134 consecutive appearances without an absence, and yet my guy Victor Oladipo has, since arriving, he's missed games due to a head cold. He's missing games now indefinitely due to knee soreness, even though the MRI didn't show any structural damage. The X-rays were negative. I mean, what are the odds that the Heat are actually going to extend Oladipo's tenure after this season? How's that looking?
Yeah, you know what? That's an interesting question. Now, look, this is not the kind of thing. Please, internet aggregators, don't post this. But I just have a hunch that Victor could be back as soon as Saturday's game against the Bulls at American Airlines Arena. It's the exact same scenario when he didn't accompany the Heat on the previous trip, 2 trips ago, and then he wound up coming back in a game against the Golden State Warriors, also on the second night of a back-to-back, basically when they needed relief after a hard first night of the back-to-back. So I think that's the outside hope. And then, Donno, it really comes down to what he shows the team. Yeah. They would love nothing more than to have reason to re-sign Victor Oladipo, because if you do that, then you can pick up the final years on the contracts of Goran Dragic and Andre Iguodala. Then it's easier with the bird rights of Trevor Ariza to bring him back also. Things fall into place so much easier. And honestly, there aren't a lot of Victor Oladipos out there in the free agent market, which is rather tepid this offseason. So the Heat are rooting for Victor Oladipo as much as Victor is rooting. But you have players in their late 20s where they become chronic injury players, and you don't give them 5-year deals or 4-year deals. So Victor, I think, needs to come back if he wants to play for the Heat and prove it. If he wants to get the largest possible contract, then maybe he does sit out the rest of the season and says, hey, I'm going to go with my body of work, because usually there'll be someone who will pay for that anyway.
I'll tell you a guy that I didn't give enough credit to is Dwayne Dedmon. I wasn't that excited when he signed, and he's put in some good performances, Ira. Has he exceeded your expectations?
I don't know if he's exceeded, because I always thought he was a pretty good player for what he is. And again, it's interesting when you mention the word expectations. The expectations of a backup center is a lot different than the expectations of a former All-Star in Victor Oladipo. But how interesting is it, Donno, that the trading deadline additions of Oladipo and Nemanja Bjelica have been sort of marginal, while the non-deadline additions with Trevor Ariza the week before the deadline and then Dwayne Dedmon the week after the deadline are the rotation contributors. So, like for a lot of people who go, the Heat blew it with the Oladipo trade, they didn't get enough, what they gave up, giving up Kelly Olynyk. But in the totality of the four moves, I think they came out ahead of the game. They are a better team with Ariza. They are a better team with Dwayne Dedman than the roster they had before any of those moves were made. Yeah, Dwayne has surprised me as far as he's been able to contribute in the middle of a playoff race. It has been very heartening. But you know what? Just like Trevor Ariza, he's a pro's pro.
Ira, we haven't spoken since the news came out of Dwayne Wade buying into the Utah Jazz. So what I want to ask you about was Mickey Arison's tweets, because he did congratulate Wade, but he also went out of his way to let people know that they had offered him Heat ownership stake. He had, I'm assuming this was a while back, and he turned it down, and Mickey said he was disappointed that Wade didn't reconsider. With those tweets by Mickey, do you think that's a sign that maybe the rift that they had, or I guess it was Mickey who actually tried to save the day with Wade before he went to Chicago, but do you think there may still be some ill feelings there?
Well, I think it's a convergence of things. I don't think like what you mentioned ever will go away. I think it would be hard for that to go away when Dwayne thought his career would always be the Heat and he would get the respect in that offseason that the Heat were giving, say, a Tyler Johnson or especially a Hassan Whiteside ahead of it. So that made it sort of uneven and will keep it awkward. But Donno, there's another part of this, and I really don't know if this is going to be the case. But if Dwayne truly is invested in active day-to-day participation with the Utah Jazz to the point where he'll have to give up some of the other things he's doing, I think that's as much of a sticking point as anything. Because let me ask you this. Let's look at the Miami Heat, and I think you would agree the overall success of the franchise in the Pat Riley era, correct?
Oh, yeah.
That this team has done way more good than not good personnel-wise.
Yes.
So who's he stepping in for? Pat Riley, Andy Ellisberg, Nick Arison, Shane Battier, Eric Amsler, Adam Simon, if I didn't mention him before. There are so many people in the Heat front office who have proven to be so adept at their jobs, even Alonzo Mourning going to those free agent meetings, that I think it's hard for the Heat to say, well, we'd love to have you, but we're awfully successful right now. I think if Dwayne wanted, and this is what I think will wind up being the case anyway, a figurehead type of minority ownership, I think that he could have accommodated that. I'm not so sure that what he winds up accepting with Utah, he could have accepted with the Miami Heat. So I think we need to see what is Dwayne Wade actually going to be doing with the Jazz. And if he steps away from his Turner Broadcasting, if he steps away from his work at CAA, his agency where he had an executive role there also, and rolls up his sleeves, then fine. Then that's what the Heat probably couldn't accommodate. I think he wants to be maybe just a little bit more of sort of have the best of everything and not have to sit there in the room with the sleeves rolled up.
Good stuff here. And Ira, before we let you run, Florida Panthers have a couple of pivotal games coming up against Carolina. I got to tell you, Ira, with the way that the Panthers handled Tampa taking 3 out of a possible 4 points in that recent 2-game set, I'm starting to have a little more faith that this team could actually win this division. What are you expecting from these next couple of games? Because Carolina have had our number.
Well, as you know, one of the greatest comments or lines in the history of the Panthers is Trocheck was tripped.
Yep.
I think the Panthers need to go out and trip Vinny early in this 2-game series and get him the heck out of the way because, my God, that guy has been a Panthers killer when he's come back to play against them. So, you know what? I think it sounds weird, but I think it's all coming down to how do they control Vinny Trocheck. I mean, Carolina's really good, and they can shut you down also. But this Trocheck thing has to stop. I mean, this could literally be sort of like the Billy Goat was for the for the Chicago Cubs, and just one of those the curse of the Bambino. Instead, I think for the Panthers, I hope it's not the curse of the Vinny.
I love it. Great stuff here as always from Ira Winderman here on the Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report. You can follow Ira at Ira Heatbeat on Twitter. Check out his work in the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, thank you so much for the time. We'll talk to you again next week.
Another perfectly cooked, medium rare segment. Thank you, Donna.
Ira, he's good with the basketball talk, yes, but I thought he was so spot on with the food talk that if you're at a nice restaurant, you don't even necessarily have to tell the chef what to do, right? I mean, if the chef feels like he wants to cook the steak a perfect way for his vision, because like you said, Tito, cooking steak is really an art, not a science. And if I have a good artist behind the canvas there in that kitchen, who am I to tell him what to do with his vision?
Exactly. Let them surprise you.
Yeah, man. I mean, have you ever had tartare? Sometimes the steak
Oh
doesn't
no,
even need to be cooked.
I've never had that. I don't think I want to.
I resisted it for a long time. I had it years ago in France, and it's one of the most delicious things. Like you have no idea. It can be so good. I don't know if I would try it like west of the Atlantic Ocean, if we're being honest. 844-416-8123. Tommy Brady is not a fan of the new NFL numbers rule. Get off my lawn. We'll discuss that when we come back. Hey, every Saturday at 11 a.m., soccer fans can connect with Austin Robillard and Red Card Radio. From the Premiership to the MLS, catch up with your favorite team, including our very own Inter Miami CF. Listen to Red Card Radio every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Austin Robillard, exclusively at OnSideRadio.com.
This has been the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat Report with Ira Winderman. Visit Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard. Come experience the oasis that customers deserve and the dealership that earned Dealer Rater's 2020 Consumer Satisfaction Award at Acura of Pembroke Pines. This is how we do it. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run in behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in at the square with Robinson. He'll square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnSideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnSideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnSideRadio.com.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Riddle me this, with all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich, Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. with an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Miami Heat got the win yesterday over the San Antonio Spurs, 107-87 Heat, 31-28 on the year. They get the Atlanta Hawks tomorrow night. Tip-off slated for 8:30. Trae Young questionable after an injury he suffered in his previous game. Miami Marlins got the victory yesterday. They defeated the Baltimore Orioles 3-0. Trevor Rogers picked up the win, going 7 scoreless innings. Marlins are back at it tonight. They have Daniel Castano on the mound against the San Francisco Giants. First pitch is set for 9:45. And remember, folks, Saturday, Inter Miami travels to take on the Philadelphia Union. You can join Big O and Alex Donno at Dangerous Minds Brewing for the pregame show. Starts at 7 o'clock, and then tune in with Chris Whittingham, Thomas Rongan, and Fernando Fiore for the call at 8 right here on OnsideRadio.com.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Our guy Tito sounded a little congested there during the update. Or do you have the Victor Oladipo going over there? You have a little head cold?
I might be out for the next couple of weeks here, Donno. I'm wailing. I'm brittle.
Go get an MRI on your knee, and even if it shows no structural damage,
Gonna get a second opinion. I gotta be sure here.
It's a little sore. Want to take some time off. We talked yesterday about the new NFL jersey rule, where they're not going to restrict the numbers anymore. Like you're able to, if you're a receiver, you can have single digit numbers now, and it's not an issue. And linebackers can get numbers in the 20s. It's pure mayhem. And I thought the restrictions on numbers were so archaic and ridiculous. I said this yesterday that the only numbers restriction you should have for jersey numbers in the NFL is don't let two guys wear the same number on a team. Like that's the only restriction you should have. Tommy Brady brought up a different wrinkle, and he sounds like an old man here. So Brady posted on his Instagram, he says, "Good luck trying to block the right people now," he said. Going to make for a lot of bad football. So, quarterbacks, for example, may not know if the guy who's wearing number 25 seems to be ready to blitz is a linebacker or a defensive back. You got to figure out if the guy playing middle linebacker is the middle linebacker or he's a safety. This was pointed out on thebiglead.com. It's going to make things more complicated. Although at the same time, we're talking about professionals. We're talking about professional quarterbacks, centers, whatever. You're going to be studying film of your opponent. Like, you should know at the end of the day who's wearing what number if you're studying. Like, if you're just strictly going based on, I assume that this guy, wearing a number in the 20s is a corner, and the guys wearing in the 50s are linebackers. You do have to study specific personnel for a team each and every week. So, we got to remember Tom Brady is going to be 44 next year. So, and he's going to be fine. If anything, this might affect like the rookie quarterbacks more than it affects the seasoned vets who really know how to study the game like Brady. But consider Brady not a fan of the new NFL jersey rule where they're going to allow pure mayhem. And listen, college quarterbacks have been dealing with it. I mean, college quarterbacks have been dealing with this because I want to say for at least 15 years, they've taken away the numbers restrictions in college. I do remember when I was a kid, they had similar restrictions to what they have in the NFL, but since like the early 2000s, players have been able to wear whatever the heck number they want to, man. Oh. Tito, do you remember Godfather's Pizza? That was a big thing in the 80s. Willie brought that up in the chat. Like,
there used to be, like, when I was in middle school at the gas station.
Yes, in gas stations.
Yeah, they had this.
I don't think I ever had it, but it looks gross.
Yeah, it wasn't anything to write home about. At least the one I tried.
It was like a low-rent version of Little Caesars.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Walmart version of Little Caesars. I saw somebody bring that up in the chat. I don't know, maybe because we didn't get the authentic and we just got like these late franchises that probably screwed up the recipe. But like it didn't really stand out to me in terms of the pizza realm.
I remember in the movie The Goonies, Chunk made a Godfather's Pizza reference. But I've like you said, I've seen them like back in the day in gas stations, but I don't think I ever actually had Godfather's Pizza. That was one of those 80s things. You know, I'll tell you what I miss about the 80s and 90s. I think there are maybe a few of these left in America, but not really any down here. Did you ever, Tito, go to the dine-in Pizza Huts and like eat the pizza buffet?
Hell yes, that was that. Well, I mean,
that was nirvana.
We are far gone. We're far removed from buffets for a minute just because of the fact.
That's fair.
You know, with COVID, but
Right.
yes, that Pizza Hut buffet was fantastic. I like endless pizza, and I think it was like $10 or something.
It didn't even matter if the pizza wasn't that good. It was endless, and what I loved was they had the apple pie that was made on the pizza crust. That was so good, man. And then they started, like, they even had, like, decent chicken wings, like, in the later years. But I don't know. And obviously, buffets are not really much of a thing right now. I think maybe some buffets are making a comeback depending on what part of the country you're in. I'm sure in Texas they probably have buffets all over the place, but there's not as many buffets operating right now. But, like, you know, sit-down restaurants have come back, and there used to be, like, dine-in Pizza Huts where you could sit down. The last time I saw a dine-in Pizza Hut, there might still, and by the way, let me know if anybody on the chat, either on YouTube or on the text line, if there is a like sit down Pizza Hut, because most of them now are just takeout and delivery only. But if there are still any sit down Pizza Huts that you know of in Dade, Broward, or even Palm Beach, like let us know, because I don't think there's any left. The last time I saw a sit down Pizza Hut was back, I think, in 2013. My wife and I went to the wedding of a friend of my wife's in North Carolina. They got married in Boone. So we had to, huge pain in the ass to like, I hate small towns. We should eliminate small towns. I hate traveling anywhere where you have to land in a big city and then drive like 2.5 hours just to get to your like, if you can't find a way to put a major airport within 55 minutes of your town, then your town should not exist as far as I'm concerned. So we had to land in Charlotte and drive like 2.5 hours to get out to Boone, which is the home of Appalachian State University. But while we were on the road from Charlotte, we saw a dine-in Pizza Hut. This was in 2013, and we stopped there, had lunch there, and it was like getting in a time machine back to 1994. It was incredible. All right, we're going to wrap up the 4 o'clock hour when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, remember, in the 5 o'clock hour at 5:20, we're going to talk with Omar Figueroa Jr., professional boxer who's going to be fighting May 1st on the Ruiz versus Areola pay-per-view card. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwart here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and ginger, captain and ginger. He was a captain and ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a
If
dealer
you're looking
near
for a
you
change from
today.
the everyday restaurant, then you need to get to Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. And with daily specials, there is something for everyone. If you're up for a challenge, you should take their famous boot tour. Finish 30 boots of different varieties of German beer, and you'll receive half price on their beer for life. And you'll get to take home your own boot and Checkers Old Munchin t-shirt. They also have outdoor seating available in their new beer garden with live music, as well as carry-out, curbside pickup, and delivery. So, for the finest German food and beer, get over to 2209 East Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Checkers Old Munchin Restaurant, or call them for reservations at 954-785-7565. That's 954-785-7565. We'll see you at Zagat Rated Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
At 5 o'clock hour of Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Oh, I'm Alex Donno. And with you guys here on OnsideRadio.com. With you for another hour. Got Tito Benach riding shotgun. Big Heat fan, big Mario Chalmers fan. When do you think, Tito, you're going to bust out the Mario Chalmers wine?
I don't know, man. It's got to be a special occasion, Dono. Like
what would be special enough to bust that out? Like, are we thinking like somebody's bar mitzvah, somebody's like wedding?
Maybe after I get married.
Maybe,
which is in like a year and a half. But like, maybe. I don't know. I gotta weigh that one out.
I mean, if you've got like a fine bottle of red wine, then if you save it for a couple of years, it'll probably be better. But I feel like Mario Chalmers wine, if you don't open it for a year and a half, it's gonna taste like vinegar by the time you open it.
It's gonna fizz out like a soda.
It's gonna turn into balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, I mean, look, he is. It's gotten great reviews. He's been reposting the people.
By who? Alex Solana.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, the people. He has a customer base. All right, the people want to know about his wine. He's got two. He's got two of them. You know that. He's got a white and a red. So he's not just limiting himself to the cabs and the Syrahs of the world. He's venturing out.
Mario Chalmers wine. Maybe I'll try it eventually. Big shout out to our guy Bromar Smelly in the chat, because he pointed out, and I just looked this up, that the Denver Broncos are sniffing around at that number 6 overall pick. Zach Stevens, who covers the Broncos, tweeted out, I feel like his terrible spelling makes me question his reporting a little bit. That might just be biased because I'm a bit of a grammar guy. He writes, George Patton, who's the Broncos GM, said he spoke with the Miami Dolphins GM, Chris Greer, but he spelled it like Gruyere. Like he has an extra E at the end. Like Chris.
Gruyere?
So George,
like the cheese?
So George Patton spoke with Chris Gruyere. I'm not sure who that is. He says the Dolphins have the number 6 pick. The two worked together in Miami from 2001 to 2006. So it sounds to me like the Denver Broncos are sniffing around at that number 6 pick, thinking of taking a quarterback. Now, for those of you asking, if you don't have the draft order memorized, the Broncos currently have the 9th pick. So I would actually, depending on the offer, of course, I would prefer standing pat at number 6 because you're going to have more options there. But if you're going to acquire more assets to move down, number 9's not that bad. Now, number 9, it definitely takes you out of Kyle Pitts' range. I don't think I see him falling that far. It may take you out of Jamar Chase range, but if you're picking up more assets and then you could still draft, let's say, Jalen Waddle at number 9, I wouldn't mind it. I'd much rather be fielding calls from the Denver Broncos than, as I brought up earlier, a hypothetical. If Bill Belichick were to make that call and want to move up from number 15 to number 6, what should Chris Greer say? I think you should hang up the phone as fast as possible, because why would you want to help the Patriots get their franchise quarterback in the future?
As much as it's about you getting better, it's making sure that other people are not getting better, right? Like that's an interdivision foe. And I don't trust Bill Belichick, so
no.
Scram.
I don't know if I trust Chris Greer either, but I trust Chris Greer. I mean, Tito, if you were to get like a reasonable offer from the Broncos to move down from number 6 to number 9, like that, that doesn't sound necessarily that terrible, depending on what the offer is. Now,
and what's on the board, right? Yeah.
Right. Now, I would be shocked if a move like this happened before the draft starts. But like you said, depending on the board, if let's say our doomsday scenario happens and, Pitts and Chase go off the board at number 4 and number 5, then that means teams are really going to have their feelers up for quarterbacks, because a couple of quarterbacks are falling to number 6. And it also means potentially, and we don't know because the Dolphins haven't said anything. I'm assuming that Pitts and Chase would be the Dolphins' top 2 choices. We don't know that. That's just me spitballing, okay? But if the guys who are potentially your top 2 choices are both unavailable and, a quarterback-needy team wants to move up a few spots, Chris Greer has been very good at taking advantage of the desperation of others, and maybe this can become a situation like that. So, yeah, I appreciate Bromar for pointing that out. Barry Jackson quote tweeted this. George Patton, which is a great name, named after the general He said he spoke with Miami Dolphins GM Chris Grier yesterday. That's the way he spelled it. Dolphins have the number 6 pick. The two worked together in Miami from 2001 to 2006. So there could potentially be a trade worked on, but I can't emphasize this enough. Chris Grier taking the calls doesn't really mean anything, because that's doing your job as a GM. You do your due diligence. I mean, even like I joke about Bill Belichick calling him, but even if that did happen, you hear him out, because Chris Grier, it's his job to do the best thing possible for the Dolphins, collect as many assets as possible, explore every trade opportunity, explore every possible mathematic permutation. So, fielding the phone calls, there's nothing wrong with that. It's what you actually decide to do at the end of the day, which can define for better or for worse the way that your draft goes. Hey, this is pretty big. So Rafa in Miami says that there is still a dine-in Pizza Hut in Miami Springs on Northwest 36th Street around 59th Avenue across from the airport. So, okay. I might have to check that out at some point, a dine-in Pizza Hut. Andy Cornell, Andy from Scotland, says Northwest 36th Street with a view of the old airliners. Oh, is that the same location then? A view of the old airliners plying their trade on the cargo routes. Okay. Ray writes in, howdy, Ray. It would be Waddle for sure at 9 and an extra 2. I'll keep 6 and take Chase if Pitts is gone. So Ray prefers the idea of staying put at the number 6 pick. I'll say one thing. As far as acquiring more draft picks, this might be the year where that's not as bad of an idea, because keep in mind a lot of players opted out last year or had shortened seasons. Like if you went to a Big Ten school, you might have only played 4 or 5 games all of last year. And a lot of players like Greg Rousseau chose not to play football, period, last year. We just had a medical combine. We didn't have a full combine. You didn't have as many workouts or interviews. So drafting is always an inexact science, but it's even more inexact this year than it is normally, because you actually have less of a look at these players. So if there ever was a year where you want to compile quantity over quality of picks, this might be the year to do it, because you know even less about the guys coming out. And I mentioned a guy like Greg Rousseau opting out last year. His agent Drew Rosenhaus is standing up for him. Now, I've been asked this question before. How do you know when Drew Rosenhaus is lying? And my answer, are his lips moving? That's how you know Drew Rosenhaus is lying. So this, he's all about saying the best possible things for his clients. So I wonder if this is true or not. So Drew Rosenhaus tweeted out yesterday, a lot of media speculation about Greg Rousseau. I've already had multiple teams tell me that they will take him in the first round if he's there when they pick. So Rosenhaus wants to make sure you guys know Rousseau is not falling down the board. I like Rousseau a lot. He's got a lot of potential. Very explosive pass rusher. I mean, he had was doing tremendously well in 2019. Tito, in your opinion, how much do you think NFL GMs might count it against him for opting out? Because I know, listen, I know you could say, well, hey, there was COVID and players are concerned about the pandemic. Like, I still think at the end of the day, most of the guys who opted out last year, they weren't thinking about the virus as much as they were thinking about, I have a free pass to avoid injury for a year. I really think that was the thought process.
Well, I mean, in Rousseau's case, he told that his mom is a direct frontline worker at a hospital.
Nurse, yeah.
Right. And so I think like I said this earlier today, which is like, if he plays this past season, he gets like 10, 11 sacks.
Yeah.
He's a guaranteed first rounder. It's not a question,
right?
Right? Like if he plays. But what I always resort to is the idea that, like, Rousseau was coming off of a knee injury his true freshman year, got knee surgery, then didn't start the first 6 games, started the final 6 games for the Canes,
right,
and still led the country in sacks. And he was a 19-year-old figuring out college football.
Yeah.
Like he was figuring it out. Like this isn't like, oh, I'm a beast. I've been doing this for 2 years. Like I think he played in 3 games in 2018 and then was out for the rest of the year. And then he just just absolutely terrorizes those final 6 games of the year. I can't help but feel that he's Calais Campbell light, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Like he makes sense. He can slide inside. He's athletic enough to work on the outside as well. He's big enough to just F up the play type of guy. You know what I mean? Like that's what I see Rousseau as. I don't see him as a traditional edge rusher. I see him as whatever play you think you're going to get off, he's going to F it up. And it's not going to be a stat, but he's going to make the play completely go haywire.
Yeah, I like him. And it's like I always try to remind myself that recency bias can be a real thing, right? That it's easy for me to say that I prefer a guy like Jalen Phillips in the draft over Greg Rousseau, and it does sound like, yeah, there could be smoke screens, but it does sound like Jalen Phillips' stock is a little bit higher than Greg Rousseau's right now. But then you have to remind yourself that how clouded is our judgment by the fact that Jalen Phillips played in 2020, had a really good year, and Greg Rousseau didn't. We haven't seen him in 2 years because we've had the same conversations about Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase. I mean, a year ago at this time, Jamar Chase was the best goddamn thing since sliced bread. I mean, he had just, had a monster season en route to a national title with LSU, opted out in 2020. We haven't seen him play in over a year. Devontae Smith wins the Heisman last year, so people forget about Jamar Chase, and they elevate Devontae Smith. Then we find out Devontae Smith weighs like 93 pounds, and oh my God, that might be a little bit of a problem, right? So I try not to get clouded in this recency bias. And then it's also easy for me to say, well, hey, teams may decide that they like Phillips a little bit better than Rousseau because Jalen Phillips opted in for 2020 and Rousseau opted out. But Jalen Phillips also, retired prematurely before coming out of retirement at UCLA, and he's got a medical history. The reason why he retired at UCLA, at least part of the reason, was multiple concussions. So his medicals are going to be really important, and his medical records are going to be really important. So there's, potential baggage on his part. Now, I love a good redemption story, and I love a good Disney movie. So I want to see, because I really like Jalen Phillips a lot, so I want to see him get drafted early and prove the critics wrong. People are worried about his concussion history and all that. But at the end of the day, I like both of these guys from the U. I want Phillips and Rousseau to both be first-round picks. I mentioned Disney movies. So, Tito, I guess I understand that there's a little bit of progress in Florida with sports betting. Like they've worked out a deal with the Seminole tribe to get sports betting passed in Florida. Our friend Lee Sterling, who is a gambling expert, was on with us. So let me get the headline out there properly here. Oh God, it's Miami Herald paywall. Give me a break with this. I used to have a password through a former employer, and they canceled their account because they ran out of money. So I got to open up my own account now. A former employer of mine that that runs national programming every single day. They used to have a password for the Miami Herald, and I guess they couldn't pay like the $1 a month or whatever it was to get. So now I got to pay the $1 a month. I got to sign up for an account. So here is Dateline, Tallahassee, Florida. I had to pull up this story through the Tampa Bay Times. There's no paywall at the Tampa Bay Times, apparently. More than half of all states now allow some form of legal sports betting. And if a proposal which has been agreed to in principle between the Seminole Tribe of Florida and the state gets approved by the legislature. Oh, no, they do have a paywall at the Tampa Bay. Oh, my God, they just hit me with the paywall. Tampa Bay Times, how dare you?
I got you. I'm in the Herald. I got it.
So you're a member. Can you share your password with me?
I will. I will. More than half of the states, of all states, now allow some form of legal betting, but if a proposal which has been agreed to in principle between the Seminole Tribe of Florida and the state gets approved in the legislature next week, Florida could be added to that list, and at least $500 million in annual revenue could be added to the budget. The concept is central to an agreement in concept reached between the tribe and Governor Ron DeSantis, according to 5 sources who represent parties in the negotiation and were briefed on the deal but not authorized to speak.
God, I hope this passes. Like I'm so
historic day.
I'm so tired of having to go through these offshore sites and then hope I can get my money out of there. I just
agreed, man.
If I could just roll up to a Hard Rock sports book.
Oh, please.
Dude.
That would be my weekends, right? Like that's what our like you would be able to be like, hey, let's go to the casino, let's grab some drinks, let's have some fun, and then it's a Friday night, and you can just walk up to the sports book and say, I'd like $200 on Jimmy Butler hitting 2 3-pointers tonight.
I'd like $200 on Victor Oladipo being out due to a head cold. Oh, man. But now, Lee Sterling was telling us last week, because, of course, anytime you try to pass, a law or a legislation on legal sports betting or legalized marijuana, you're always going to have to deal with lobbyist groups, right? That they're going to be big businesses either lobbying for it or against it. And Lee Sterling was telling me last week, and this actually makes a lot of sense, that there's big money against legal sports betting in Florida. And do you know where it's coming from, Tito? Can you guess who is putting up big money? Disney! These bastards stabbed me in the back. I love Disney World. I love Disney World, and I love sports betting. And Disney is fighting against legal sports betting in Florida because those greedy, money-loving, words I don't want to say, want every tourist to only go to Disney World. They don't want people coming to Florida and going to the sports books. They want everybody taking their families to Epcot. I mean, why can't we coexist? I mean, because it's not like you're getting necessarily the same travelers, right? Like, I can't stop at the sports book in the morning and stop at Epcot in the afternoon. Like, share some of the love, Disney. Disney World. I got my heart rate going when I was all angry about Disney there. This is awful. Like, I can't believe I love Disney.
Well, we're
so
close,
much.
though, Dono. I mean, it looks like it's going to happen,
Good.
And we don't have to, like you said, pull out our money through a, just foreign exchange account from Swiss bank.
My wife is going to be so confused when I tell her that we're boycotting Disney World, and next year we're going to take our son, who's going to be 4 years old next year. We're taking him to the sports book on vacation.
We're going to Universal. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
we're
that's
not
right.
even going to Disney anymore. Universal doesn't do that to me.
No, they don't. Oh my God. Hey, we're gonna talk a little bit of boxing when we come back. Omar Figueroa, professional boxer. He's going to be fighting on the televised, the pay-per-view undercard of the Ruiz versus Areola fight coming up on May 1st. Omar Panterita Figueroa, who's fighting Abel Ramos in a 12-round welterweight bout. He's going to join us when we come back. Keep it locked right here to Onside Radio. Hey, Florida Panthers fans have a place to call home every Saturday morning. As Cats insider David Dwork hosts Chirping the Cats Radio every Saturday at 10 a.m. Onside Radio is committed to all sports, and Panthers fans can now connect every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. with Dwork on the home for Panthers fans worldwide, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk. This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run in behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in. At the square with Robinson. No square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnsideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnsideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnsideRadio.com.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, welcome back into Man of the Match here on OnSideRadio.com. Really excited for the Ruiz Areola pay-per-view. We're 9 days away from that one. And really happy to talk to one of the men who is fighting on the pay-per-view undercard, Omar Panterita Figueroa Jr., who takes on Abel Ramos in a 12-round welterweight clash on that card. Omar is nice enough to join us. Good afternoon, sir. How you been?
I've been great, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure. I appreciate you taking the time, especially with the fight almost here. I mean, how busy does it get, Omar, when you're a couple weeks out from the fight? You're nice enough to do interviews with people like me. I'm sure you've had media workouts and stuff. How crazy do things get in the lead up to a fight?
Well, see, the amazing thing about it is that I feel like at my 31 years of age, I've finally matured and got my ass in line and have done what I'm supposed to do. So I was only 7 pounds away from weight when I started camp.
Nice.
So I've had no issues whatsoever. We've been able to focus on keeping my body healthy, strengthening my body, conditioning my body. It's been, honestly, I'm not going to say perfect camp because no such thing will ever exist in any kind of contact sport, especially. But we had a great camp. This is honestly the first time that we have a healthy camp since, my fight with Arakawa. And we all know that my conditioning and my performance was amazing for that fight. So I'm excited to see what I can do with this one.
Dude, that is so great to hear that. And yeah, because I know just how – I've not done it myself, but I know how difficult it is for prize fighters to get through a camp healthy and happy and all that. So I'm really, really glad that, you're almost at the finish line and ready for this bout. And so tell me your scouting report on your opponent without giving away any strategy, of course, because I don't want his people listening to this and taking anything away from it. But what are you expecting from Abel Ramos? What sort of a fight are you expecting next Saturday?
To be honest, I have not looked at a single tape of Abel yet. My coach is the one that takes care of all that, and he just executes the plan in the gym. So that's that's what we've been doing. That's how we work, and I mean, thus far it's worked. All I can say is that we've been focusing on me, and the results have been amazing. And all I have to do is take my shirt off, and you guys will see that when I say that things have been different, I'm being serious about it.
I love that. And, you come off a loss in your last fight. So how much does that add to the motivation to really perform and get the W this time around?
Nah, nothing. Not at all. Because, I mean, I know I lost, but it was just a product of the situation that had been created because of my injuries, because of, X, Y, Z. So that was just the culmination of all the BS that had been going on in my career and all the BS that I had put myself through by not doing what I was supposed to be doing from the very beginning. But all I can say is that things are different now, and we're excited to show the world finally.
I love that. I love that. And this will be, this will be your first time fighting since all the craziness with the pandemic. I mean, how much does that change the lead up? I mean, I'm sure you're getting COVID tested pretty often. You're having to, maybe mask up around places. How much does that change the preparation?
Honestly, I'm a germaphobe already, so I love the whole.
Nice.
Because people don't think about how gross it is to talk to people.
Right.
People don't have random ass, drunk ass guys coming up to you in the fights, spitting all over your face and rubbing their bodily fluids. It's just gross. And it's not just 1 or 2 or 10 or 20. It's hundreds of people sometimes.
It's so funny you say that,
So
Omar. You go ahead. No, finish the thought. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I for one, I'm so happy about all this, all these health restrictions going on, the mask wearing, the extra sanitation, the just being more health conscious. I love that about this whole pandemic. If we're gonna take anything from it, I'm gonna take the positives, and I'm gonna stick with that one.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, Omar, because I was talking on my show the other day about how, obviously I want most aspects of life to get back to normal, but there's one thing I actually really enjoy, not having to shake random people's hands, Omar, because I don't know where these people's hands have been. So if I can just keep fist bumping for the rest of my life after this, I will not complain about that whatsoever.
How do you think we feel about that? We have random ass people come over and hug us, all drunk, all sweaty, and and it's not that we have a problem with people. We don't mind people. We love that. That's why we try as hard as we do, because we love being adored by the fans. It's not why we do it, but it's a great reward.
I totally get
so that's why I don't mind that at all.
That's really, really cool. Hey, tell me about how you got into boxing. Did you come from a boxing family, or was that a path you found on your own?
It was something that my dad just, I guess, he wanted to do growing up, and he didn't have the support from his parents because grew up poor. They had to work and stuff. So my dad pretty much lived vicariously through me in terms of the whole boxing thing.
That's really cool. So what age did you get into it, and when did you figure out, I really want to do this competitively? I know you had an amateur career before you got into the pros. So at what age did you really start to get into it?
Well, I had been around it my whole life. I think my mom tells me that ever since I could walk, my dad was already buying me gloves and punching bags and all that stuff. But I didn't officially start training until I was 6 years old, because my mom wouldn't let me get into boxing so young, start getting punched. So it wasn't until I was officially, I think, 6, and I had my first fight in Mexico, I think, shortly after I turned 7, because I was illegal here in the U.S. I was illegal in the U.S. still, yeah.
Wow. Oh, 7. That's really, really cool. Did you grow up watching the Rocky movies?
No, I grew up really poor, so TV wasn't really big in our family.
Well, no, and still, man, to be able to get to where you are today, it's really, really neat, man. We're talking with Omar Figueroa here on Onside Radio, and of course, you are a serious professional fighter. And I'm a traditionalist when it comes to boxing. I appreciate what you guys do on these pay-per-view shows and on PBC and everything. But I have noticed that there's become a big trend, and I can enjoy watching these as well. I'm not going to be such a snob, but you see all these Triller events that have been happening with these kind of celebrity boxing fights. I mean, if you ever, Omar, reach a point maybe later in your career where you start getting big offers to fight some YouTubers, is that ever something you would consider? And how do you feel about some of these events that have been happening?
I think people should just mind their damn business. If you don't want to watch it, don't pay it.
Same. Yeah.
If you do care to watch it, pay it and watch it and shut the hell up. You don't care to watch it, Jake Paul's not a fucking boxer. He's a YouTube person. What the hell do you expect? Of course he has to talk shit to create buzz. Like, I don't know why people have such a big... I don't know. People are so weird.
You're totally right about that, man. I love it. I'm really enjoying talking with you. We're joined here by Omar Figueroa Jr. He's going to be fighting on the pay-per-view undercard next week on Ruiz versus Areola. Any thought on that fight, Omar, in the main event? Do you have a feeling who's going to come out victorious there?
I mean, it really just depends on the Areola that shows up. But given his history... And not just that, I mean, we're not taking anything away from Andy. I mean, Andy is an amazing fighter. And he proved that against Joshua, the first fight. So just based solely on that, I really don't think Chris really stands a chance.
Well said, man. I'm really looking forward to watching you fight next Saturday, May 1st on pay-per-view. Omar Figueroa Jr., thank you so much for taking some time, especially only 9 days away from the fight. We will be rooting for you. We will be, figuratively speaking, in your corner for the fight. So best of luck to you, man, and enjoy the rest of your preparation before you hit the ring.
Oh, no worries, man. Honestly, I don't know if you can tell in my voice. I'm just chilling. I'm chilling here. I have my my family, my daughter, my girl here with me. Like we're enjoying this so much. Had I known then what I know now and how easy I could have made this for myself, I would have been doing this all along. So I don't know. It's so crazy how simple it could have been this whole time.
Well, God bless your family, man. How old is your little one?
She's 4 months old.
Oh, dude, that is so cool. That's great, man. And I know that when she gets a little bit older, I know she's going to be so proud of her pops. When she learns of all your accomplishments and everything. That's really cool, man. God bless everyone there.
Thank you so much.
Good stuff there from Omar Figueroa. Really nice, level-headed guy. I can't wait to watch him fight. That was really neat. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. It's funny, Tito. I know people have their opinions on the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. You were telling me that story though earlier about how he and the Seminole tribe have seemingly worked out a deal for sports betting, and a texter writes in, DeSantis is utterly repulsive, and I wrote back, if he passes this law, he gets my vote for re-election. It's that simple.
I mean, hey, it is a big deal.
We continue the 5 o'clock hour with you till 6 o'clock here on Onside Radio. Hey, every Saturday at 11 a.m., soccer fans can connect with Austin Robillard and Red Card Radio. From the Premiership to the MLS, catch up with your favorite team, including our very own Inter Miami CF. Listen to Red Card Radio every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Austin Robillard, exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The 25-year-old was reportedly arrested this past week near Vail, where a sheriff's deputy said he saw Camargo's car speeding and changing lanes erratically, which is always really smart. When you're carrying a lot of drugs, you want to speed, you want to swerve, you want to look like you're drunk and high and all that. You want to cause as much attention. You want to bring as much attention to you when you're carrying a load of drugs. That's just a tip for you, thieves out there, you drug dealers, you criminals. Bring all the attention possible to you while you're committing a crime. It's really, really smart.
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnSideRadio.com. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
If you're looking for a change from the everyday restaurant, then you need to get to Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. And with daily specials, there is something for everyone. If you're up for a challenge, you should take their famous boot tour. Finish 30 boots of different varieties of German beer, and you'll receive half price on their beer for life. And you'll get to take home your own boot and Checkers Old Munchin t-shirt. They also have outdoor seating available in their new beer garden with live music, as well as carry-out, curbside pickup, and delivery. So, for the finest German food and beer, get over to 2209 East Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Checkers Old Munchin Restaurant, or call them for reservations at 954-785-7565. That's 954-785-7565. We'll see you at Zagat-rated Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
Miami Heat getting the victory last night. They defeated the San Antonio Spurs 107-87. Bam Adebayo with 23 points. The Heat's next game is Friday night. They take on the Atlanta Hawks. Tip-off is slated for 7:30. Trae Young listed as questionable following an injury in his previous game. The Miami Marlins split a 2-game series with the Baltimore Orioles. They got a 3-0 victory yesterday. Tonight they're back in action. They've got Daniel Castano on the mound when they take on the San Francisco Giants. First pitch is slated for 9:45. And the Florida Panthers are also back on the ice tonight. They take on the Carolina Hurricanes in a battle for first place in the Central Division. Puck drop is slated for 7 p.m. And Saturday, folks, don't forget, Inter Miami travels to take on the Philadelphia Union. You can join Big O and Alex Donno at Dangerous Minds Brewing for the pregame show. That starts at 7 o'clock. And then at 8, Chris Winningham, Thomas Rong, and Fernando Fiore on the call right here on OnSideRadio.com. This is South Florida's home for local sports talk.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
So that was a really interesting conversation with Omar Figueroa Jr. And Tito pointed out that dude sounds so laid back in a number of different ways. And he even said it in the interview. He's very laid back and relaxed. He was holding his 4-month-old daughter, which is really cool. He said something interesting when I asked him about what he expects from his opponent, Abel Ramos. He said, I've not studied Abel. It's my coach watching film. My coach is preparing my technique. It's work for me. I trust him to do that. That's not that unusual. There's a lot of different types of fighters. Some fighters are such huge fans of the sport themselves that they're naturally going to watch potential opponents, really scout them with their own eyes, and kind of tailor their approach in conjunction with their coaches. But I've talked to a number of different fighters over the years. A lot of UFC guys, some boxers who, maybe, they don't live their life watching every single boxing card and every single potential opponent. And at the end of the day, a lot of these guys have been with their coaches for years, if not decades, and they really trust their coach to get them prepared, and maybe they're not even that big of a boxing fan where they're watching a lot of other fighters, and they don't feel the need to go into the film room and study themselves. They trust their coach to do it. It's hard for me to imagine being that way. I'm very far from a professional prize fighter. Let me put that out on Front Street, but I just know my personality, Tito. I know my own personality, and if I was doing that for a living, I would probably be the type where I would want to do plenty of my own film study and be in the film room with my coaches to kind of, because I'm more of a visual learner, right? That it'd be one thing for a coach just to tell me how to approach an opponent. I would also like to see it for myself. That's just my personality, but I've talked to enough different boxers and MMA fighters over the years to know that a lot of guys aren't that way, and a lot of guys will just put 100% of the trust in their coaches, and they don't necessarily have to watch their own film. It seems odd to me, but it's common.
Donno, you know what fighter you would be if you were a fighter. You always marvel at Nate Diaz, and that's what you'd be. You don't deny it. You love Nate Diaz, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's a great guy.
I'd be putting up middle fingers in the middle of the fight.
You'd be smoking a joint in the middle of your workout, claim it's medicinal, because you don't care. So, yeah, I mean, hey, if I had to be a fighter, I'd probably be a Nate Diaz type. Yeah, I think I'd be like that too. Just a badass mofo. I mean, nothing else.
Funny thing about Nate Diaz, he doesn't even know who 75% of the fighters in the UFC are. Like, maybe more than that, because there are so many times, and it's the funniest thing, when like a random fighter will call out Nate Diaz, and he will respond, I don't know who you are. And I believe him. I think he only knows who a handful of guys are in the division. Another guy, I remember having a conversation years ago with Rampage Jackson, who was such a nice dude. He was really good to me because, Rampage always had a reputation that he's not always like great with media, but I had one conversation with him, like a 20, 25-minute interview, and he could not have been nicer to me. But like he admitted to me, he's not that big of a fight fan. Like he doesn't watch a whole lot of other people's fights. Very different approaches. Because for example, I've done a lot of interviews over the years with former rival of Rampage, but a former light heavyweight champion, Rashad Evans. Where Rashad Evans is the type where he keeps up with every aspect of the sport. Same thing with Daniel Cormier. DC, he's a fight fan's fighter because he watches every single, and he does a lot of commentary now in addition to that, but even before he did commentary, he would watch like every fight and would do his own film. But then you got guys like Rampage, like the Diaz brothers, who aren't necessarily like huge fight fans, even though they're really good at it, and they don't study a whole lot of film. Moving on, this is pretty interesting. Miami quarterback De'Aaron King ranks high in the initial Heisman Trophy odds. Inside the U just published a piece. Even though De'Aaron King is still rehabbing his way back from an ACL injury, according to the folks at the William Hill Sportsbook, De'Aaron King has the 6th best preseason Heisman Trophy odds at plus 1,400. So a $100 bet would win you $1,400. We got to get that Seminole Sportsbook open so I can easily place that bet before next season. That's not bad, man. I mean, obviously, De'Ara King had pretty decent Heisman odds last year. He's very well respected. He had a good season last year. Obviously, didn't win the Heisman. I mean, Miami wasn't really good enough to help elevate him to Heisman Trophy contention. But he did have a good season last year. I'm actually a little bit surprised that he has the 6th best odds, only because I thought there might be more concern about his injury. That even if now down here we've heard all the positive feedback about King's rehab, that he's smashing all of the benchmarks and he's ahead of schedule. So I guess the national media and the bettors have caught up with that as well, because not only do you need him to be ready for the season to start, but you need him to be 100% by the time the season starts. Now, he's got the 6th best odds right now. If Miami were to get smashed by Alabama, those odds would shrink. But if Miami were to, and I'm hoping to speak this into existence, if Miami were to pull off the upset against Bama, De'Ara King would probably go from number 6 to like top 3 to win the Heisman. So the leader in the clubhouse is Oklahoma redshirt sophomore quarterback Spencer Rattler at plus 500. So $100 bet would win you 500. Alabama redshirt freshman Bryce Young is second at plus 600. Bryce Young's a 5-star. Of course, pretty much anybody who steps on the field at Bama is a 5-star. But Bryce Young, very highly touted redshirt freshman. And we know that at Bama, you're going to be surrounded by talent. So Bryce, even though they've got a lot of new starters there, I mean, breaking in new wide receivers, new running backs at Bama, new quarterback, of course, but you know that Bryce Young is going to be surrounded by some of the best talent in the country, so that's going to help him out a lot. Now, there is one ACC quarterback that is ranked higher than De'Ara King in Heisman odds, and that's North Carolina's Sam Howell. He's got the 5th best preseason Heisman odds at plus 1,000. So hopefully Miami can actually beat North Carolina this year, and De'Ara King can finish with better Heisman odds. I'm really frustrated today, Tito, because
why is that?
I see my homeowners association fees. They've gone up. So my HOA fees. So what the HOA does basically, it's a cartel. Like this HOA, it's a monopoly. So just for living in my goddamn neighborhood, we own our house, my wife and I. Just for living in this neighborhood, we pay a mortgage. The deed to the house is in our names. We own the land. We own the home. We own the land. And yet, just because our home is located where it is, we've got to pay fees to the homeowners association, because the homeowners association, they pay a couple of rent-a-cops to drive around to patrol the neighborhood in golf carts. We have to pay for that. And the other thing, I think they do have like a lawn service that cuts the front yards but not the backyards, so we pay for that. But then the big thing, like the big appeal, and obviously there are different neighborhoods, because there are some neighborhoods where, where everybody like has their own pool in their backyard. We have a community pool in my neighborhood. We have the community pool and the clubhouse. And so, part of the HOA fees that we pay, the homeowners association fees, are for the maintenance and the upkeep and the security of the pool. Now, for the past year, pool has been closed. It's closed for the pandemic, and it's continued to be closed because of the difficulties they have in like paying somebody to mind the pool. And Tito, do you think in the last 12, 13 months, whatever it's been, since our pool has been closed, since that presumably is part of the HOA fees we pay, do you think the HOA fees have gone down since the pool is not operational?
One would assume.
They've gone up.
Oh, my goodness.
The HOA fees have gone up despite the fact that we don't even have all the amenities available to us of living in this neighborhood. So I have made a decision today, due to the corrupt nature of my homeowners association. I'm not going to name my neighborhood. I'm not ready for that yet. If it gets to a point where this gets really ugly, I will name names. And but honestly, I don't really want to name my neighborhood because I don't want creeps showing up there. That's part of the reason why. So I'm not going to name my exact neighborhood. But I am happy to announce that me and 14 other owners of residences in this neighborhood, we are breaking away from the Homeowners Association to form a Southeast Kendall Super League.
There it is.
We're cutting them out.
Yeah. Take Take that. I don't know what association Donald lives in. It's going to be such a cool Super League that you're not a part of.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be, and we're guaranteed entry into the Super League every single year. We're not paying, and not only are we not paying HOA fees, they're paying fees to us, right? Like we're getting all the money. We're splitting it 15 ways. It's going to be fantastic. We are forming our own Southeast Kendall Super League, and the HOA can eat it. Now, maybe 48 hours later, we come crawling back. But as for right now, we have formed our own Southeast Kendall Super League. You know, the actual Super League, have you been following this today, Tito, the European Super League? Barcelona and Real Madrid, and I think also Juventus, are still technically in the Super League. And they're saying the Super League is not dead, but what are they? Are 3 teams going to play each other 20 times?
It's going to just be Ronaldo and the Messi boys just playing against each other, and that's all it's going to be. It's going to be the pseudo-intellectuals of soccer over there playing against one another. But hey, congratulations on UCF winning the Super League. Congrats to them.
Now, this is a really good friend of mine. I need to bring him on the show at some point. Carlo Garganese. He's of Italian descent, but he's a journalist in the UK. He's English, but he covers Italian soccer. He tweeted something. Now, Tito, believe it or not, Carlo and I get along despite the fact that he's a Juventus supporter and I'm an Inter supporter. So if anyone out there thinks I'm not like a tolerant person, like I have Juventus fans that I associate with, which is really shocking. But Carlo, who's an Italian soccer journalist in the UK, he's a Juventus fan, and he's very disillusioned by the Super League. He writes out, question for Juventus, Milan, and Inter fans, because those were the 3 Italian teams that joined the Super League. And I think Juventus is still in it, but Inter and Milan have dropped out. He said, have you lost love for your clubs because of the Super League actions? He says, we're going to discuss it on our next Italian football pod, which our friend Nima, who joined us the other day, is also part of that podcast. He says, my best mate, because that's what they say in England, his best friend, my best mate has been a Juve diehard for 30 years. He spent a fortune on merchandise. He says he's done with them.
Sounds like you need some water.
Yeah, honestly, like... Okay, so if fans think that their clubs were plastic for joining the Super League, aren't you pretty goddamn plastic as a fan if you lose love for your club because they were in a Super League for 48 hours? Like, isn't that just as bad? Like Tito, and you're a Man City fan, and I know it's ironic because people accuse Man City fans of being plastic, but I don't think you are. I think you're a legitimate Manchester City fan. Manchester City was in the Super League for 2 days, right? I'm an Inter Milan supporter. We were in the Super League for 2 days. Even if, and I actually kind of like the Super League, but even for people who hated the Super League, are you really that plastic that you're going to lose love for your club because they had for 48 hours announced an intention to join a Super League? Dude, no. I've loved this club for my entire life. Like, I'm not going to lose love for 48 hours of Super League.
Stop being so dramatic. Seriously. Stop being so dramatic, okay? It was a cute idea that didn't work out. And they're still the same club, okay?
Right.
Like this is like being invited to a party and then the party's canceled and your friend's like, well, I was mad that you were going to that party in the first place. I'm not going. It's not happening anymore. So we can hang out. Like, what's the deal here?
Yeah, and I have one last thought on Super League, and also we've got a couple more Canes and Dolphins thoughts we can wrap up with when we come back here, because we have one more segment to go, and then we'll say good night for today. But stick around; we have a little bit more before we wrap it up here on the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnSideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnSideRadio.com. Get the brutal honesty every weekday noon to 3 p.m. with a big O and the Onside Zone on your home for sports talk in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can step, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can step, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
This Saturday, Inter Miami CF visits the Philadelphia Union at Subaru Park.
And now Higuain trying to bend his run in behind. Flag is temporarily stayed down. Higuain is in at the square with Robinson. No square. Robbie Robinson has opened the scoring. The flag is stayed down. And Inter Miami are off and running in 2021. They lead the LA Galaxy by a goal to nil.
Join OnSideRadio.com as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Our pregame broadcast watch party starts at 7 p.m. Game time is 8 p.m. Listen to all the games by going to our website at OnSideRadio.com and download any of our apps. Follow Inter Miami CF all year long on your home for football. OnSideRadio.com.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you want local sports, 1260 WLESPN.
We're live and local.
Yes, what she said.
Well, it's what they wrote.
Look at it this way, honey.
Oh, no. Here we go.
At some point, this was all live, and wherever it came from, it was local there.
You get that look whenever you stretch the truth or when you need your laxative.
Ain't it awful? South Florida's choice for sports talk. OnSideRadio.com.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Wrap it up here in a moment. Huge thanks to Tito Bonach for working the distance with us today. We don't usually get 3 hours of Tito, so that was a treat today. Although I also love Alex Aguirre, who's at a bachelor party in Chicago. So I hope he's had the deep dish pizza already so he can report back to us. Big thanks to Omar Figueroa Jr., professional welterweight boxer, for joining us. Ira Winderman, huge shout out. Louis D. Sung, thank you for joining us. Real quick, last thought on the Super League. I've seen some angry supporters of smaller clubs who are like yelling like, oh, the 12 teams who joined the Super League, they should now be sanctioned. Like they should now be punished. They should get point deductions or they should get relegated. Like, hold on. What did they actually do at the end of the day? Because the Super League didn't happen. Like, so for 48 hours, they were alleged members of a Super League that never played a game. Like, how can you punish them? Like, how can you, like, you're talking about deducting points from or relegating the teams that, like, they didn't do it. Like, nothing actually happened. I could see if they played, and they didn't receive a cent, by the way, because the Super League never materialized. So, okay, if they played a season in Super League and received, 425 million euros, and then a year later they come crawling back to the regular Champions League, then okay, maybe. But they didn't do anything. They didn't break any laws. They didn't really break any rules. They just talked about joining a Super League, and it like the Super League never actually happened. So how can you punish them? Like you can't. So I'm sorry you're all butthurt about how for 48 hours you thought maybe you would be left behind by clubs that joined a Super League, but nothing actually materialized at the end of the day. So stop whining. All right, we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow, 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. here. Hey, Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner. I actually joined Kai today. It was a lot of fun. Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. Join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day, 10 a.m. to noon for Kai's Corner on the home for South Florida Sports Talk, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio.
Hey, it's Big O for EJD Construction, your custom home builder, additions and home remodeling. Our lives have changed. We're making our homes more of an oasis. Call the right place. Call the right people. Eric at EJD Construction for over 16 years. A-rated member of Angie's List in the Better Business Bureau. 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Floridians must prepare for sweltering heat, summer rainy seasons, and aggressive nature. And of course, hurricane season. That's why when it comes to protection, make sure your roof is prepared for the same brutal weather by calling Chase Roofing and Contracting. Open 24/7. Call them today. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, and even Orlando. Go to chaseroofing.com. Chaseroofing.com provides roof inspections for both residential and commercial roofs. Get a free no-obligation roof evaluation. Trust chaseroofing.com to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Inter Miami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast